Huntsville City Council meeting is now in session. If you were to have an electronic device that could disrupt this proceeding, please turn it off or put it in a silent mode. As always, thank you so kindly for your help. Also, will you stand, if you please, for the invocation led by Susan Holliday of Unity Church, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Dr. Richard Showers, Sr.
Let us quiet our minds and acknowledge the greater spirit that guides us all, no matter the name we call. We breathe in together and thus demonstrate the underlying oneness, our humanness, our connectedness. In gratitude, we stand here in support of our representatives, those few who sacrifice on our citizens' behalf, to come together in this room for the purpose of civil discourse, of respectful discussion, and for the purpose of governance of our blessed city, to provide for the highest and best good for all of our community. We also pray this evening for the comfort and assistance for all those in need and in harm's way, here as well as in the world. We know and believe that all is well, and so it is. Amen.
Would you join me as you face the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And thank you, Ms. Susan Holliday, and thank you, Dr. Showers. Council members, you have before you an electronic copy of the minutes. Are there any corrections or amendments? These minutes are from our meeting held September the 22nd, 2016. Hearing none, the minutes stand as recorded. We're now at agenda item number 4, resolutions and special recognition. Mayor Battle, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I could ask Kenny Anderson to come forward. Kenny, I think it's time for our CAFY Youth of the Month, and I think we have a whole bunch with the CAFY group coming up. So please tell us about our new young student.
All right, I sure will. If the members of the organization, if you want to come up also, Jarrell, our nominee, come on up. I'm going to ask you all to step down and let Jarrell stand next to me. As he comes up tonight in support of his nomination and his acknowledgement, these gentlemen of the 100 Black Men of America are part of this process also. So tonight we have the privilege of recognizing Jarrell Rickson. He is a 12th grade student at Columbia High School. He's a senior and wants to become an engineer. He currently serves as the 100th president of the Men of Tomorrow Mentoring Program, which is a huge honor. He also had a chance to speak at our national convention this past year in Atlanta, Georgia, and did a fantastic job. He is involved in many activities in the community, including the Back to School event, as well as the North Alabama Health and Wellness Fair. He was promoted to first lieutenant in Columbia High School's JRTC program for this current school year. And in making this nomination, the nominee said that Mr. Rickson has a keen sense of responsibility, enthusiasm, commitment, and achieves all that he sets out to do. He's dedicated to services to the continuous improvement of the mentoring program. So for those things, tonight we recognize Jarrell Rickson, the October Rocket City Broadcasting CAFY Young Citizen of the Month. Jarrell, we have several things to give you. I'm going to start out with the Optimist Club. They have a little token of their appreciation in here, and I believe it's a gift card, so hang on to that. And we'll start over here with Tom Panucci with Rocket City Broadcasting.
Jarrell, I just want to say congratulations from Rocket City Broadcasting. We are very proud of you, and your accomplishments are amazing for such a young man, and we look forward to seeing your growth in the community. Again, congratulations. And let me give you this in our appreciation.
Thank you, sir. Sir, on behalf of Huntsville Utilities and our CEO,
Mr. Tony Owens. We want to give you a gift bag as well. We got something in here for the mind, body, and spirit. And there's a little card in there as well. Don't spend it all in one place. And if you're thinking about going in the military as a full-time thing, I might know something about that. Let me know. Congratulations, sir.
Okay, Jarrell, on behalf of the Human Relations Commission for the City of Huntsville, we congratulate you for all your achievements, and we present you a certificate from the Human Relations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations.
Jarrell, on behalf of the Huntsville Police Department and Chief Mark McMurray, we give you the certificate in recognition of exemplary service to your community. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
And Jarrell, on behalf of the city of Huntsville, we want to give you a coin from the city of Huntsville to say thank you so much for all your accomplishments. Thank you for making Huntsville a better place. And I would like for you to turn around in a minute and shake the hands of all the council members and go down and so that they can wish you well too. Thank you so much. Good
Thanks,
job,
man.
guys.
Thank you.
And Jarrell, to these guys down here who have mentored and been with you and with many others in all the schools and have made a big, big difference, we want to say thank you for all of your work that y'all have done because you have made a difference. As you touch each one of these young lives, you touch those lives so that they understand what life is about. And so thank you so much for the work that y'all have done too. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor Battle. And if anyone would like to leave, this could be a perfect opportunity, although you are welcome to stay for the duration. Thank you, sir.
Council members have to stay, Mr. President.
Absolutely. We're now at agenda item 4B, adoption and presentations. Council members, we have one item for adoption only. 4.2A is a resolution recognizing the J.O. Johnson High School graduating class of 1986 on holding its 30th reunion to be held October the 14th through the 15th, 2016 at the Westin, Huntsville, brought by Councilman Showers. Chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Dr. Showers. Discussion. Ready for the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. Dr. Showers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Whereas the City Council and the Mayor of the City of Huntsville are apprised that the former students and faculty of the J.O. Johnson High School class of 1986 will observe their class reunion October the 14th through the 15th at the Westin, Huntsville, with a mixer on October the 14th at the Westin, and of course a picnic October the 15th at the Dr. Richard Showers Senior Rec Center, and a banquet on October the 15th at the Westin. Whereas the graduating class of 1986 was comprised of 303 students, whereas the Student Government Association officers were President Candace Holtkamp, Vice President Linnell Moore, Secretary Mary Jane Seymour, Treasurer Amy Matterson, Parliamentarian Melvin White Jr. The senior class officers 1986 were President Jadice Harris, Vice President Angelia Weir, Secretary Jocelyn Jones, Treasurer Ellen Oxby, Senators Jeff Hale, Chris Hohen, Demoko McQuart, and Kathy Wilson. And whereas from 1982 to 1986, The students were recipients of numerous academic and athletic scholarships and awards, whereas the class of 1986 very supported and active in the community and citywide activities in the city of Huntsville as well as abroad, whereas former classmates from Alabama, Georgia, Illinois, North Carolina, Ohio, Tennessee, and Texas will be attending the reunion. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council and the Mayor of the City of Huntsville, Alabama, hereby congratulates the J.O. Johnson High School class of 1986 on their reunion and extends a warm welcome to the Jaguars on this special occasion. This document will be signed by the Mayor, Tommy Battle, Council President Will Cover, Bill Kling, Jeannie Robinson, Mark Russell, and Richard Showers Sr. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Showers. Now, agenda item 4C, other special recognitions. 4C1 is a recognition of Lorainne Ennis for successfully recovering a monument to Revolutionary War soldiers lost for 40 years and having it placed in the Veterans Park in downtown Huntsville in September 2016. Councilman Kling.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is Ms. Ennis, she is here. Mr. President, this is something I think is kind of very special. When we speak of a key, we speak of a key as being something that opens the door. And Ms. Ennis, to me, is a key. She was the key to find this very important document. And I'd just like to read the certificate that we're going to present on behalf of the mayor and the council. It's presented to Lorainne Ennis and ladies of the Twickenham Town chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution for successfully recovering the monument lost for 40 years, Mr. President, which honored Revolutionary War soldiers from and buried in Madison County, having it restored and placed in the Veterans Park in downtown Huntsville. Mayor Battle and General Droulet, Director of the Madison County Veterans Park, assisted DAR members in redirecting the monument to its new home on September the 27th and recognized the American Legion members who preserved it for 4 decades. On behalf of the mayor and the council, Ms. Ennis, it's my privilege to present this to you in appreciation of you being the key to making all of this happen. Thank you so much. Could I?
Absolutely.
But as you know, historic preservation is very important to this community and what this history means. And what you did, literally, it was a treasure. And we very much appreciate what you had done, what the Daughters of the American Revolution have done, and everybody involved to make all this happen. And again, thank you very, very much. I think it's going to be great in its new home that we have for it right now.
Thank you. Can I say something?
You are welcome to.
I want to thank Councilman Kling, Mayor Battle, and the rest of the councilmen for this honor and the wonderful certificate that you have given me. Even though my name and phone number were in the paper when we were trying to locate this boulder that was lost for 40 years, this was a unified project. Many thanks go out to the County Commission, Steve Haraway, American Legion Post 229 in Madison, and Commander Carlos Woods, Pierre Turney, who actually moved the boulder, Mayor Battle, Brigadier General retired Robert Droulet, who accepted the boulder for the Veterans Park, Gus Mooring, Tom Brown, and all of the landscaping and irrigation men and their teams, and all the city recreation men and their teams, the SAR men and the DAR ladies. We really could not have done this project without the help of everyone. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I enjoyed every moment of this project, all 8 feet and 3 tons of it. If you have not been to the park, you're missing something special and you need to go. Thank you.
Thank you again so much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Kling, and again, thank you, Ms. Ennis. Congratulations to you and your organization for an outstanding job. Thank you all. We're now at agenda item 4D, announcements. Council members, 15I has been deleted. 15I has been deleted. Also, is Mr. Devin Keith here tonight? Mr. Devin Keith. As you all may know, we had a council meeting and certified the votes. Mr. Keith is city council-elect for District 1. Just wanted to recognize him tonight publicly if he were to have been here. We're now at agenda item number 5. Council members, there isn't any business with outside legal representation. We're at agenda item number 6, public hearings. Now is the time and place for the following public hearings. 6A1 is a public hearing on a resolution authorizing the city clerk treasurer to assess the cost of cutting and removing of grass and weeds against certain properties, brought by Community Development. Ms. Jordan.
Yes, Mr. Culver, Council. This resolution identifies 49 properties that were in violation of the city's grass and weed ordinance. 20 of the property owners are local. 19 are out of the area and or out of state. All 49 owners received written notification by first-class mail that they were in violation of our ordinance and were given 14 days to correct the violation. All 49 owners failed to respond, and Community Development issued work orders to cut the properties. The owners received a written request also by first-class mail for payment for this work. They failed to respond, and so I'm here before you tonight to request assessments being placed on their properties.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Anyone from the public wishes to address the council on this particular matter? Hearing none, the public hearing is now closed.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Russell, second by Dr. Robinson. Discussion. Ready for the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. 6A2 is a public hearing on a resolution authorizing the demolition of an unsafe building constituting a public nuisance located at 1610 Calvary Street Northwest, brought by Community Development. Ms. Jordan.
Yes, Mr. Culver, this resolution will authorize the demolition of an unsafe building constituting a public nuisance at 1610 Calvary Street Northwest, also known as 1610 Calvary Street Northwest. The property was initially inspected by staff on July 26, 2016, with further review on July 26, 2016 by an independent contractor who determined that the structure was not economically feasible to repair. They scored a grand total of 94 out of 100, meaning that 94% of the property would have to be replaced or repaired in order for it to be feasible. An official notice was sent by certified and first-class mail requesting demolition and removal of the structure by the 2nd of September. That didn't happen, and the parties are now and we're now requesting authorization to abate the nuisance.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Anyone from the public wishes to address the council on this particular matter? State your name and address for the record, please.
Jackie Reed, Jack Coleman Drive.
Thank you.
I only have 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
They were notified by certified letter, the property owners were, and what happens to these buildings when you tear them down, and what's the cost on it? And what do you do with them once you take it over?
So, Ms. Jordan, would you like for me to repeat Ms. Reed's questions, or do you have that?
I think I have it.
Great, thank you.
I don't know the cost yet for the demolition. We'll know that after the tipping fees and the cost to demolish it are determined by staff. On what happens to the property owner can come back and reclaim the property when the taxes are due, or it could revert to the state. It just depends. It could be sold on the courthouse steps. It's just a process that will carry itself out over time.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Did we satisfy your inquiries, Ms. Reed? Thank you. Anyone else from the public wishes to address the council on this particular matter? Hearing none, the public hearing is now closed. The chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Dr. Showers. Discussion. Ready for the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. 6A3 is a public hearing on a resolution authorizing the demolition of an unsafe building constituting a public nuisance located at 2145 Madaris Road Northwest, brought by Community Development. Ms. Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Culver. Council, this property was initially inspected by staff on August the 4th, 2016, with further review on August the 22nd by an independent contractor who determined that the structure was not economically feasible to repair. This property also scored a 92. An official notice was sent by certified and first-class mail on the 24th of August, requesting demolition and removal of the structure by the 23rd of September. We did get an appeal to the Housing Board of Adjustments referencing the Unsafe Building Abatement Code, not the Code of Alabama. Therefore, it was returned to the person making the appeal by certified mail, informing him that that request was null and void. That citizen might be here tonight. I think that request came through your office. No action was taken by the owners or interested parties, and we're now requesting authorization to abate this nuisance.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Anyone from the public wishes to address the council on this particular matter? Now's the time to address the council on this particular matter. Hearing none, the public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion
Second.
by Dr. Robinson, second by Mr. Kling. Discussion. Ready for the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Now to agenda item 6B, public hearings to be set. Council members, if there aren't any questions regarding these items to be set, the chair will move for consolidation and approval to set the public hearings, 6B 1 through 10. Chair moves for approval of consolidation and approval to set the public hearings on 6B 1 through 10.
Second.
Second by Dr. Showers. I will read these into the record. 6B1 is a resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance amending Article 92, Board of Adjustments, Sections 92.5, Powers and Duties, subsection 92.5.3, subsection 40, to add language concerning temporary seasonal outdoor agricultural sales. This will be set for November the 17th, 2016, at a regular council meeting. 6B2 is a resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance amending ordinance Article 92, Board of Adjustments, Sections 92.5, Powers and Duties, subsection 92.5.3, permitted uses as special exceptions by amending subsection 92.5.3, subsection 22, to update language concerning indoor facilities for BB guns. This is set for November the 17th, 2016, at a regular council meeting. 6B3 is a resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance zoning newly annexed property lying north of Little Cove Road and on the west side of Watson Grandy Way as Residence 1A District. This will be set November the 17th, 2016, at a regular council meeting. 6B4 is a resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance zoning newly annexed property lying on the east side of Sanderson Road, south of Cooper Run Drive, as Residence 2 District. This is set for November the 17th, 2016, at a regular council meeting. 6B5 is a resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance zoning newly annexed property lying on the north side of Terry Drake Road and east of Old Big Cove Road as Residence 1A District, set November the 17th, 2016, at a regular council meeting. 6B6 is a resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance zoning newly annexed property lying on the west side of Old Big Cove Road and west of Hampton Ridge Drive as Residence 1A District, set for November the 17th, 2016, at a regular council meeting. 6B7 is a resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance zoning newly annexed property lying on the east side of Old Big Cove Road and south of Terry Drake Road as Residence 2 District, set for November the 17th, 2016, at a regular council meeting. 6B8 is a resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance rezoning property lying on the east side of Pulaski Pike and south of Stringfield Road from Residence 1A District to Residence 2A District, set for November the 17th, 2016 at a regular council meeting. 6B9 is a resolution to set a public hearing for suspension of licensure for certain taxpayers. This is set for October the 27th, 2016 at a regular council meeting. 6B10 is a resolution to set a public hearing for suspension of licensure for certain taxpayers set October the 27th, 2016 at a regular council meeting. Discussion, ready for the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Just 1 minute, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I have 2 items that I would like explanation on, and that's item 6B2 and item 6B8.
So
If
we'll
they are
move.
both from the planning department, if they could come.
Thank you, Dr. Showers. We'll go ahead and approve the consolidation and approval of 6B1, 3 through 7, 9, and 10. Is there a second on that
Second.
motion? Motion been made, properly second. Ready for the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. 6B2 is a resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance annexing 92, Article 92, Board of Adjustments, Section 92.5, Powers and Duties, subsection 92.5.3, permitted uses as special exceptions by amending subsection 92.5.3, subsection 22, to update language concerning indoor facilities for BB guns. This is set for November the 17th, 2016. However, can you give us some insight on that, Ms. Nichols?
Ashley Nichols, Planning Department. Councilman Showers, this is an amendment to existing language that we've had within the zoning ordinance since 1993. We have several districts where we permit indoor facilities for BB gun usage. We have had several interested parties interested in our Highway Business C4 district, which is not included in this particular district. So this is a proposal to add Highway Business C4 to this list of applicable districts.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Is there an aye?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. 6B8 is a resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance rezoning property lying on the east side of Pulaski Pike and south of Stringfield Road from Residence 1A District to Residence 2A District. This is set for November the 17th, 2016 at a regular council meeting. Ms. Nichols, is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Dr. Showers, second by
Second.
the chair. Discussion, Ms. Nichols.
This rezoning request is approximately 10 acres. It is south of the intersection of Pulaski Pike and Stringfield Road. It is currently a wooded area. The property is currently zoned Residence 1A, which can accommodate single-family detached dwellings only, as well as you can have municipal uses and also places of worship. There is a proposed buyer for this property, and they would like to construct a proposed future multifamily development similar to the Pinehurst property, which is north of this area. Currently, the Residence 1A district cannot accommodate any type of multifamily or two-family dwelling uses. So the current property owner has petitioned to rezone this property from R1A to Residence 2A, which can accommodate multifamily dwellings. And the maximum height on this particular zoning designation is 2 stories. And public hearing notices will be mailed out 2 weeks, public hearing notices were mailed out 2 weeks prior to last month's planning commission. There were a few calls just wanting to get more information about the request, but there were no bodies of opposition that attended the meeting. And this item was recommended by Planning Commission last month.
Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Any further discussion, council?
Yes, sir, Mr.
Dr. Showers.
President. Now, according to the data that we have here, the location is east of Pulaski Pike and south of Stringfield Road. Now, there's an apartment complex there already.
Yes, sir.
Now, can you tell us the prospective buyer The square footage, I don't need the name, I just want to know the square footage of the 2A opportunity that would go there if we pass this.
I don't have any detailed information as they have not turned in a layout at this time. I think the interested party just has a contract on the property, but they have not purchased the property, nor were they the petitioner for the rezoning. The actual current property owner was the petitioner for the rezoning, which is the neighboring church of this property. But within this zoning designation, it is very limited to single-family and multifamily dwellings only. There's no commercial or any type of hotels or motels or office buildings that can locate here. So as far as what the number of buildings, the number of units they would like to have, I do not have that information at this time.
Okay, the calls that I have received on this particular item is that citizens who live in the area are concerned that we not have small dwellings. In District 1, North Huntsville, we have enough of that. No problem with large square footage, but we don't want any small square footage to go into that area. And since you don't know tonight, we'll be following up on that. The other gentleman will be following up on that.
Yes, sir. And if I can get additional information for the next council meeting, I will contact the current property owner and see if they have any additional details. But at this time, it is just a future proposed apartment complex. But as far as the square footage and any other details as far as the apartment complex is concerned, I don't have those at this moment.
Would you afford the council a copy of your findings on that?
Yes, sir, I can.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Any additional comments? And we'll certainly take this up with an open public hearing at our next scheduled council meeting, or should I say November the 17th, 2016 council meeting. Ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. Thank you, Ms. Nichols.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir, Dr.
You said
Showers.
that the next scheduled council meeting would be in November?
No, sir, Dr. Showers, I'm sorry. This particular public hearing has been scheduled for November the 17th, but our next council meeting will be October 27th.
Thank you.
So we have, and for the audience here, we have a council meeting October the 27th. We also have a council meeting on November the 3rd and November the 17th. We changed those dates because of the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. So we did that not only for November, but we are doing that also for December. So the first and third Tuesday of November and the first and third Thursday of November and the first and third Thursday of December, we will have our regular scheduled council meetings. Thank you, Dr. Showers. Now, agenda item number 7, communications and reports. 7A is communications from the public. As I call your name, if you will position yourself by the microphone, you'll have approximately 3 minutes to address the council. Please state your name and address for the record. Mr. Ralph Timberlake. Mr. Ralph Timberlake. Okay? Can always come back. Mr. Eddie C. Sherrard. Sir, if you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. I'm Eddie C. Sherrod, resident of 5724 Jones Valley Drive Southeast. And I have a concern, and I want to first address you, Mr. Carver, President, and other council members, and Mayor Ballard. I have a concern with regards to municipal court judgeship. As I recall, Judge Rodenhauser retired back in the summer, maybe July or June. And since then, we have not had anyone to be promoted to the presiding judgeship. Now, we have Judge Cleveland, who was already there, and I think Judge Cleveland has spent more or less 16 or 17 years on the bench. So I would think that she is very and highly qualified to assume the role of the presiding judge. And to me, I think it would be in the best interest of the council and the mayor to make this appointment so that the city will not be lacking a full-time 2 judgeships. I think you only have 1 now. And my respect for Judge Cleveland, that she's a very intelligent woman. She has served very faithfully and very well. I don't recall any public actions to oppose her, anything she's done. And I just hope, for the sake of the city, that we are not using gender discrimination, partisan discrimination, or even race to promote this lady to become the presiding judge of a municipal court. If I said that, and I would think that, with that said, I would hope that you all would do the right thing in my position and make her the presiding judge. That's my.
Thank you, Mr. Sherrod. And just for clarification, sir, pursuant to Alabama state law and our City of Huntsville ordinances, it is the council's responsibility to appoint what we call the associate judgeship, which would be the other full-time judge.
Right.
It is solely the mayor's.
Remember, I called, I named all the people, and I said you all because I hope you all collaborate.
Yes, sir.
And make the, okay, that's
Yes, sir. I just want to clarify that for the public, that the mayor would
right,
make
the
that
mayor
appointment.
would make the appointment. So it may be specific then. Mayor Bella, it would be in our best interest, I think, that you appoint Judge Silver Cleveland, presiding judge of municipal court.
Thank you, Mr. Sherrod. All right, sir. Thank you, sir. And just for the record, I certainly am completely uninvolved in that particular situation. Mr. Leslie Tripp, hope I didn't butcher your name. Miss Leslie Tripp? Tripps. I said it right. Sorry, ma'am. Welcome. State your name and address for the record, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Leslie Tripp, and I live in a mill house located at 516 Marshutes Avenue. I'm a registered voter in Mr. Bill Kling's district. I have a cold, I'm sorry. My neighborhood is sometimes known as the Medical District. It's an area known for the smaller mill-type homes built from about the 1930s to the 1960s. The area includes the subdivisions of Madison Heights, Longwood, Clerk and Salaried Men's, Mayfair, Gwen Home Sites, and Thornton Acres. Recently, my neighborhood, as well as 5 Points, Maple Hill, Merrimack, Dallas Mill, Holiday Homes, and Blossomwood, just to name a few, have been targeted by predatory developers. The established homes are being torn down and replaced with large, not-to-scale, and out-of-character homes to the detriment of the neighborhoods. Take a drive down Locust, Gallatin, or Hastings to see what is being done to destroy the fabric and character of these neighborhoods. Excuse me. My neighborhood is currently experiencing gentrification, which is the more affluent moving into an area and causing the displacement of current residents and small businesses. Planners often like to use the words like revitalization, reurbanization, redevelop, and reuse to hide the negative impact of gentrification efforts. What these terms do is leave out redress for the current residents. Gentrification is happening because moving into an area for its downtown location and culture is the latest craze and the trendy thing to do. The people moving in want our close to downtown location, but they don't want our older, smaller homes. They want to change our established way of life of nearly 100 years in some areas, and they want to change architectural landscape of our neighborhood. To them, I say move to the neighborhood that suits you rather than destroy the soul of an established neighborhood. There are alternatives available to you that do not involve demolishing these neighborhoods. We're losing our history to gentrification at a rapid pace. Other negative effects include people losing their home and way of life because it creates an affordable housing crisis. Property taxes will rise, but the market value of the established homes will fall because developers only want to pay for our lots. Longtime residents will be forced to leave a home and the way of life they have created and invested in, some for 60+ years. This is an area where they have raised a family. The long-term negative effects of gentrification can be seen in areas like San Francisco, Harlem, and East Nashville. The very soul of these neighborhoods become lost forever. What I would like for the City Council to do is to preserve these areas and encourage development that fits the character, architectural integrity, and the scale of these neighborhoods. Most people originally moved to these neighborhoods for the current character, architectural integrity, and way of life. I know I did. There are not many places in Huntsville where you can purchase a home like mine, yet there are several places in and around Huntsville where you can purchase a new large home. I would like to see some zoning changes made and zoning enforcement done to preserve the current character and architectural integrity and way of life of these neighborhoods. Some possible zoning changes could include a square footage limit.
And Ms. Tripp, your time is up. Would you like another minute,
Yes,
ma'am?
I would.
Council members? Thank you, ma'am. You may proceed.
Like a 120% average of the footprints of the houses on either side or a conservation overlay. Zoning enforcement could be better. For instance, variance requests often make it all the way through the process without the meeting criteria laid out in Zoning Ordinance 92.5.4. There is no hardship when you're aware of the small lot size in the neighborhood you purchase in. There is no hardship simply because you want to make a large profit off of a large house rather than build back to the character of the neighborhood. The variance hearings should be far and few in between, but we see the same developers asking for the same types of variance over and over. The zoning ordinance ordained by the City Council speaks of preserving the character of the neighborhoods in several places, including the preamble. I'm asking the City Council to have zoning enforcement do just that. We have to put up with constant construction, noise, roads being torn up, debris-filled lots that children can get injured on, old-growth vegetation being stripped, tree canopy removal, homes demolished without proper asbestos and lead abatement, our views destroyed because we see the side of a large house rather than down the street, our privacy invaded when a large home is so tall that we can't enjoy our own backyards, and the bad behavior in the form of intimidation, harassment, and fraud from these developers.
Thank you, Ms. Tripp. Your time is up, ma'am.
Thank you.
If you would like, you can certainly address the council at agenda item number 17, as well as anyone else who maybe didn't get an opportunity to sign up.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir. Mr. Kling.
I've had contact with Ms. Tripp and numerous other people in the neighborhoods, and we've had contact and work with staff in the planning department, inspection, and zoning. And I think Ms. Tripp raised a very valid question, and maybe that's an interpretation. I don't know if the council needs to get involved. I know planning commission is a separate entity. But if somebody is buying a house, and shortly after they buy a house, they bulldoze down the house, and then they come back to the local city, commission looking for a hardship. Is it a hardship if they knew what the cards were when they bought the property? I mean, we're not going to decide that right now, but I think that is a very interesting and important question that kind of gets to the heart of this whole issue that I think neighborhoods have talked about at some of the meetings I've gone to.
Thank you, Councilman Kling. Miss Jackie Reed.
Good evening.
Good evening, Miss Reed.
I want to thank you always for allowing the public input. That's important. I also want to wish my grandson, he was 17 yesterday, a belated happy birthday. I missed his first birthday right here at the council meeting. He forgive me, but he hadn't forgot it. I was trying to say Big Spring Park when that bank building was put up over there at the end of the park. I'm still trying to say Big Spring Park, but anyway, we won't get into that tonight. I want to thank you all, thank our police officers for quick responses that I've been at the place where they went the last 2 days. They're doing a great job. They didn't get enough raise, but I'm still on that too. And I want to thank you for going up and down Jordan Lane and saving some of those businesses. They've been 5 robbed, as I told you. And I see circling of police officers. We really, really appreciate that. We need it all over the city. We should have hired about 65 more instead of 7. We won't get into that. Traffic is terrible in this city. There's wrecks all over this city. There's no respect to anyone in the city. They'll run over you. You better get out of the road. Anyway, I want to talk about the parking around. I hear that the city owns the streets around the courthouse. I don't know if that's true or not. But yesterday I was trying to find a parking space, and the county tells me that the steps, from the steps up, they own it, and from the street down, you own it. 2 desks sitting over there. If you got any questions, ask me. Sitting over there taking up 3 or 4 parking spaces. That ain't funny. You've got these streets marked off on Wednesday around the courthouse. If you all are doing that, quit it. We don't want those streets blocked till 4 o'clock on Friday. Thank you, I appreciate that. I have a problem when I'm trying. People got business in the courthouse. I don't think you need to be doing that. And the big picture, I want to bring that up. Don't put that up at Parkway Place. I see that on the mall right now. You want to put up a big picture. Well, we had a meeting the other night of about 200 people. I think Bill Kling or the big picture, somebody. We had this place full. I want to see a presentation up there of where my son lives, and all these people want to see what you're going to do at the big picture. Nobody gave a presentation or told us what's going to happen in that area. They just made a few complaints. It's what's going on in the neighborhoods. Nobody saw anything about the big picture, so don't go spreading that around if you not let the public know what you're going to do in their neighborhoods. That's a no-no. Anyway, I've always got something to fuss about, Hannah. That's a good thing. I'd like to see somebody hold some issues here. I, N, Q, R, and L. And I got a real problem with the Downtown Inc. We gave them $90,000 in the budget. What do they do for the
Ms.
city?
Reed, your time is up. Would you like another minute, ma'am?
Thank you.
Counsel?
You mean they okayed it?
Yes.
Appreciate it.
You may proceed, ma'am.
I'll hurry. On Channel 42, I want the socializing stopped. For 8 years, I didn't see too much of it, Mayor Battle. That's all I see now. Maybe you're campaigning for the governor. I don't know. You was campaigning for the mayor on that channel. When you qualified, I had a problem with that, too. I want to see these meetings when they are. All these meetings on Channel 42. You can talk to everybody in town if you want to. You don't have me on there yet, and I'm sure you're not going to put me on there either. But I think we need to tell when the meetings, the planning, the zoning, Barron's Board, all the meetings needs to be advertised. I don't know whose job that is. I've asked that several times. I wish somebody looked into it. And please, somebody tell me who Downtown Inc. I know Chad Emerson's helping run it. We're trying to come up with a new downtown master plan. Please tell us what you're going to do downtown and with our money. Thank you. I'll be back.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Okay, so. Mr. T.C. Johnson.
T.C. Johnson, good evening, 1800 Sparkman Drive. I want to read an email before I have any comments. This email is from Carol Madry Bill to the BizPAC, which is the political arm of the Committee 100.
Sir, could you speak into the microphone, please? Pastor, I know you have a strong voice, sir.
I didn't want to blow you out, but okay. The two recommendations for runoff donations have passed the membership. The results are enclosed for your confidential view. I will be contacting both candidates this afternoon. Also enclosed is a Facebook post by Bob Harrison we discussed at our meeting last week. Bill Kling called me the day after to assure me that he is not part of any three-member effort as described, and discussed several efforts he is willing to champion with other council members. He is definitely worried we will back another candidate against him in 2 years. So I think we will have strong influence with him going forward. If Devin wins, that balance of power will definitely shift, and our mayoral, council, leadership teams in both Huntsville and Madison could be the strongest in years. We need to all be very active in making that happen by reaching out to everyone we know in District 1. This is an upsetting idea for me that our votes don't matter at all. If money can buy those who represent us. I had heard Mr. Kling defend his voting record, rightly so. I agreed with him then, and I agree with him tonight because I've watched him carefully over the years vote for what's best for his constituents in every vote. One of the items is this Huntsville utility raise that was voted down, rightly so, because they have in their districts, Mr. Culver, Dr. Showers, and Mr. Kling, the people who have fixed income and lower income, and they were looking out for the good of their constituents. There should be no power applied to make him change his vote or change the way he votes for his constituents. This email said that the influence over both the city, the mayor, Madison, and Huntsville, that business will have stronger, not that they needed it already. We understand that from the city, from the national to the local elections, money has its place. But it should never stop our politicians who, most of the time, that's all we have to depend on for a voice. It is a sad day when it's open, not openly said, but it's said that we will influence what happens. So democracy is for sale. And it's sad. It makes it not even reasonable for us to try to choose our politicians
Pastor
to
Johnson.
voice for us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir. Mr. Kling.
for whatever reason, everybody seems to want to categorize my vote. I'm on this side. I'm on that side. If there's anybody who's really pushing my button, it's probably, those two women back over there. Miss Hughes scares the bejesus out of me, I might add. We talk regularly. I mean, all of us are up here. I'm going to do what I think is right. The utility rate increase, I was opposed to the, I think it was a 50% increase in the access fee because I thought that was too much. But I told 3 utility board members within the following days, come back with a % increase based on usage, 3%, 3.5%, whatever, and I would support it because that way the person in the 10,000 square foot house uses more electricity. He's going to pay more than the little old lady in tennis shoes who lives in a 1,000 square foot house. But at different times I've been up here on issues with council members, one-on-one, or 2 against 3. I was 1 versus 4 on the settlement of a court case from a company that was found to be in violation of our zoning ordinances. I kind of piggybacked off of Councilwoman Robinson's ideas about doing a district newsletter. I seconded in a heartbeat Mr. Russell's proposal that the 1 cent sales tax would last only for, a 5-year period to go with the contract that we had with the state. And, similar with Councilman Showers and Councilman Culver. I'm going to do what I think is right. Somebody's going to have a heart attack, but I was at a lunch meeting the Committee 100 had, and I picked up an idea I'm going to talk about a little bit later from a speaker who was a consultant on urban planning. And so I'm going to be independent. I'm going to do what I think is right, but I'm open to everybody. But I can't control what Commissioner Harrison says, except to say I disagree. And Reverend Johnson, I know you don't agree with me on everything, but I respect the fact that you could see I'm up here. You may not agree with me, but I'm trying to do what I think is right. The district I represent is actually 2 districts. Fascinating, great people. One part is low income, one part is affluent, and sometimes I'll try to come up with a compromise proposal or something. But I'm going to do what I think is right, and I think every other council member up here, from time to time, you can stereotype and say, well, this person's going to vote this way or they're going to vote that way, but everybody up here is going through a lot of paperwork, a lot of great applicants to interview for some of these board appointment positions. And, it's a tough job. It's challenging. It's a great city. We got a great mayor, council team. We got a great city that's, seeing some great things happening. So I can't control what anybody else says, but I'll just go out here and do what I think is best. End of story.
And thank you, Councilman Kling. Miss Sharon White.
Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, and other council members.
Good evening.
May I approach to give you, each one of you, a copy of my proposal,
Someone
please?
will meet you there and get it. Thank you. And you can go ahead, Ms. White.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Sharon White. I am the founder and president of SWAC.
And state your address for the record.
Excuse me, 2600 Fieldcrest, Northwest Huntsville, Alabama, 35810.
Welcome.
And I am the president and founder of SWAC, which stands for Students Working Ahead to Graduate. As many of you may know, I am an educator and have been actively involved in Huntsville City Schools and surrounding cities throughout the Madison County. I have tutor and mentor students throughout the community. I am a graduate from Johnson High School, and also I'm a graduate from Alabama A&M University as well. As the CEO and the founder of SWAC, I have came up here to propose a proposal about inquiring assistance in purchasing the Bo Matthews Center. The Bo Matthews Center is located approximately a block down from the new Jemison High School, McNair Miller School, and the College Academy. It's also in the surrounding areas of other elementary schools. Reason I'm asking for this vicinity, this building, is because with the fallout what's going on with Pinnacle, I want to bring another entity into the community on the north side. Our students in the state of Alabama, we're failing in reading and math. Our students, the percentage-wise for the ACT is an average 21, but for Huntsville City School is an average 15. My program, I have been doing it for the last 6 years, and the highest number that I've promoted was a 34. The lowest number I have promoted was a 19. Each one of the 287 students that came through me all actively receive scholarships, are currently either in college or in the military. I am asking for assistance in acquiring this building because I want it to be an outreach and a place for the students in North Huntsville to be able to come to get extra credit help, entity as far as tutoring for the ACT, the SAT, prep, the GED, ASVAB. Also, it also can be an alternative for behavior and motivating the students to step ahead to graduate. Some students are being placed out of the school and placed into the penalty program, and now we're trying to work the students back into Huntsville City Schools. Well, I would like to use that building to work the students back into the school system.
Sorry, your time is up. Do you need another minute?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Counsel? Yes, ma'am, you may proceed. Okay.
Basically, I would like your help and consideration of me trying to inquire the Bo Matthews building, if that's possible, sir.
Thank you, Ms. White. So I know I've heard of your success with the program, and I think you're doing a great job. Assuming you are 501c3.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask Ms. Jordan if you could get with her at some time, if you all could exchange information so that maybe you all can talk. The city can't do that per se, but perhaps there may be something in community development that could provide some assistance. And I would also encourage you to maybe seek assistance through the Huntsville City School Board as well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you for your presentation and package.
Thank you.
Ms. Stephanie Strong. And Ms. Strong, if you would state your name and address for the record, please.
Stephanie Strong, 150 Spinnaker Ridge Drive, Huntsville, Alabama, 35824.
Welcome.
I'm a registered voter in the District 5.
Wow, that's scary.
Well, Mr. President and Mayor and council members, I stand before you as founder and executive director for Turn the Page, Center for Urban and Adult Development. We are a reentry program right here in Huntsville that seeks to stop, abort, and interrupt recidivism. We seek to improve public safety, and we seek to help those who have been formerly incarcerated transition back into our society and attain sustainable living. One of the reasons that I come to speak to you is really to speak on the appointment of the presiding municipal court judge, Sybil Cleveland. Why this is important to reentry is because of Judge Sybil Cleveland's her impeccable 18-year or almost 18 years service to this city. She is not only has exercised integrity, and not only has she extended her judicial prudence to the community and those who are in community corrections, such as reentry, but she is fair. She is fair. And I cannot think of any other judge who would actually be more fitting than Judge Sybil Cleveland. Her discernment in seeking alternatives to incarceration is very important to reentry. The alternative sentencings, alternative programs that she has and that she has implemented, such as drug court and diversion programs and programs for intervention, not only help bring down the incarceration rate here in Alabama. For every 100,000 people, there are 657 people who are incarcerated in the city jails as well as the state penitentiary. We can do a lot about recidivism. And it starts with a judge who understands that when a person needs treatment, they don't necessarily have to be incarcerated. The treatment and other diversion programs can help meet them at their greatest needs so that the recidivism rate is reduced and people are helped. I want to strongly suggest, with respect, that Judge Sybil Cleveland will be appointed as presiding judge for the municipal court here in Huntsville. I know that decision rests on the mayor, and I am...
Ms. White, your time is up. Do you need another minute?
One more minute, please. Thank
Council
you.
members? Thank you. You may proceed.
Yes. I just think that any other person, I don't believe that there's another person, another judge with such integrity and fairness in helping the citizens of Huntsville understand that the court, that they will be treated, when they come into that court, they will be treated fairly and just. That is very important. And to continue making Huntsville a safe place, a place where we love, and we know that our communities will be safe by her judicial integrity and her judicial prudence. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Strong. Ms. Dr. Deidre Willis.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Deidre Willis, 4235 TJ Drive, Huntsville, Alabama, Northwest Huntsville, 35810.
Thank you.
I, too, partnered with Sharon Cole in trying to get Bo Matthews Center. We are the Northwest Charter Organization, which is an after-school program, credit recovery, and tutoring. In that building, we would like to house, for love's sake, who are family advocates, gap translations, and a health clinic where we'll do behavior, dental, and medical screening for referral. The building is very important to us. We already do work in the community. We currently serve the residents of Northwest Huntsville, Alabama neighborhood, where over half of the children in the vestige schools are not proficient in reading or math. 63% of residents live below the poverty line, and nearly 90% of families are headed by single mothers and grandparents. A growing body of evidence shows that in order to significantly improve the educational and development outcomes of children and youth, interventions must address the needs of both vulnerable children and their parents, particularly mothers. Therefore, we will build over a decade of research with partners to provide a cradle-to-career continuum of services for children, integrated family wraparound services targeting high-quality child care, maternal education, parental employment, nutrition, health, and community social supports. We're asking and begging for that building. We will talk with who we need to and combine you a better package. But we are very interested in the building to help our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Willis. And did Mr. Timberlake come in? Mr. Ralph Timberlake?
Good afternoon. Ralph Timberlake, 2117 Atkin Drive, Huntsville, Alabama, 35810. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, council member, and most of all, the august and wise citizen of the city of Huntsville, Alabama. I rise to raise my feeble voice for the interest of those who can raise their voice not as loud as I am raising mine at this present time. To that end, I respectfully ask that the city bring forth an ordinance that will clarify trespassing on public property. Secondly, I spent a great deal of time this afternoon trying to do my due diligence in finding out who was going to serve us and the vulnerable position of judge. That information, I was unable to obtain that information. In the future, I respectfully asked and I sincerely entreat that you will make that information public information, or to provide some reason as to why that information is not brought forward to the public. Thirdly, I continue to beseech the Huntsville Hospital to make its subcommittee meetings open to the public so that the public can see how their public servants are serving them, so that it's a win-win. When they do that, that will alleviate and abscond from a lot of misgivings and false allegations, because then we can see. I also went to the utility board meeting this morning, and again, asked for the supplication. I supplicate with them to provide their minutes online so that the citizens of Huntsville, again, could see the wonderful work that they are doing and how they are serving this citizen. Their vacillation on honoring this request escapes me. When you ask to serve the public, you should not have any fear nor trepidation of the people to whom you are serving. I'd like to think that something can be done in the interest of our democracy so that we can be more of a participant in how this is done. We just had an election, and there's nothing worse than someone making decision absent of knowledge and information. A wise person seeks information.
Mr. Timberlake, your time is up. Would you like another minute, sir?
If you'll be so gracious.
Council members? Thank you, sir. You may proceed.
So all I'm asking is that we would like to see that was done before. We have another election coming up next month. I would like to see that done again, that wise and informative citizens are making wise, informative decisions. To just make a decision is foolish, but to make a wise and informed decision is prudent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Timberlake. So, Ms. Reed, as it relates to the items you want hold, I has been deleted. I will hold your other items that you have requested. And Mayor Battle, she had two questions. One was who owns the streets around the courthouse, and the second one was who is Downtown Inc., and I think also Coach Sherrard had an inquiry as well.
Sure, you finished?
Yes, sir.
Let me just address those when I have my comments.
Okay, we'll defer to that, Mayor. Thank you, sir. We're now at agenda item number 8, Huntsville utility items. 8A is a resolution authorizing the approval of the purchase, replacement, and upgrade of BCU controllers PR 10228657, brought by Huntsville Utilities. The chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Dr. Showers. Discussion, Mr. Gertis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Joe Gertis, Huntsville Utilities. This one's pretty simple. It's for heating and cooling equipment in our downtown building. These controllers have become obsolete and need to be replaced. Total for this item is $31,768.
Thank you, Mr. Gertis. Any further discussion? Ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. Thank you, Mr. Gertis. Now to agenda item number 9, board appointments. Council members, are any board appointments to be voted on? Board appointment nominations. Are there any nominations? And I want to say this before we make nominations to a particular board. I know that the council as a group, I met with each of you privately as it relates to the the Airport Authority Board, and we are still interviewing candidates as it relates to that. Are there any board appointment nominations?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir, Mr. Kling.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Ken Arnold to vacancy on the Air Pollution Control Board.
Thank you, Mr. Kling. Are there any additional nominations?
Mr. President, I want to make sure that I'm clear. We all know with the passing of Dallas Fanning's, there's a vacancy on the airport authority.
Yes, sir.
And you have asked the council tonight not to submit any nominees for that vacancy.
Well, actually, asking is a strong word. I'm suggesting, because any council member can make a nomination. But when I met with you all individually, since we were still interviewing candidates, and I have one or two more that I'm interviewing as well, we just kind of reached a consensus on our own volition that we wouldn't make any nominations tonight, although no one here on this council is precluded from making nominations. It's just that, in my opinion, it seems that it would only be fair if we waited until we've all had an opportunity to interview the candidates who have already expressed interest.
How many candidates have expressed interest in this vacancy?
I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 so far, thus far, and I've instructed all of them to contact each council member to get on their calendar.
Okay. Will this be done at the October 27th meeting?
Yes, sir. It will be, the nominations will be made at the October 27th council meeting after each council member who chooses has had an opportunity to interview each applicant who has expressed an interest. Any further discussion, council? Dr. Showers?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We're now on agenda item number 10, approval of expenditures. 10A is a resolution authorizing expenditures for payment. Dr. Showers, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move tonight that we would pay $13,493,340.
Second.
Motion has been made by Dr. Showers, second by Councilman Kling, for approval of expenditures in the amount of $13,493,300.40. Discussion, ready for the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. Dr. Showers, is there a Finance Committee report?
No, not this time.
Thank you, sir. Now, agenda item number 11, communications from the mayor. Mayor Battle, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate you, appreciate everybody here. I think we just had the state of the city yesterday, and to each of you, I want to say thank you for your support and your work with the city, because we've made some great strides. It was very nice to be able to give a report about the city, because it's a good report, and it's very easy to give good reports. And all the department heads out here, you're the ones who make that happen. You're the ones who do the heavy lifting. So thank you for the work that you do on a day-to-day basis. One of Ms. Reed's questions was about who owns the property around the courthouse. I think she's referring to the pop-up parks that are in downtown from October 13th through the 26th. They'll be gone on the 26th, Ms. Reed. But there are pop-up parks that are around there. We had them last year, and they were very popular with people who came around. So we have done it again. It is sponsored by Downtown Huntsville, Inc., who is part of it. I think you mentioned about Channel 42. You wanted to stop socializing and want meetings publicized. You can see Ms. Scrimpture over here between she and Blake, they work together to make sure that we have everything on there. I think some of the socializing I think that you're talking about is some of the public programs that we're doing to try to make sure that people understand what we do and why we do it. You know, that's one of the only ways that we know how to be more transparent. To Coach Sherrod and Mrs. Strong, thank you for your comments. It's very rare that we have people talk about appointments, which are appointments from the mayor and appointments for department heads. But one of the things that we have been working with, and this is a continuing conversation, a conversation that I had with Judge Rodenhauser and Judge Cleveland, is that, you know, we want to continue working on the courts, how to make a better court system, how to make one of the best court systems in America. And to do that, I think we have to make sure that we do the little things and make sure that the little things work. We have some great people working in municipal court. It's a great office for us, but I think that we have to talk about how we can make it better. The council's in the process of choosing a judge right now. Once that judge is chosen, I will interview both people who are the people who could be appointed the presiding judge, and then make a decision. As I understand, things are working fairly well in municipal court right now. Judge Cleveland has moved into Judge Rodenhauser's offices. She is in courtroom number 1 now, so I think things are running along. And Coach Sonny Rodenhauser left September 1st. And so we're going to wait till the other judge is chosen. Once he's chosen, we'll interview both, and then we'll make a decision as to what's best for the city of Huntsville. Some things that we want to talk about in that as we do it. We want to talk about the relationship of the courts to the city of Huntsville and administration. We want to talk about what the procedures are to make the courts just a little bit more customer friendly. And that's something that I think is very important to us. And it's one of the things that reflects back on our police force, because if somebody comes in and comes through the courts and doesn't feel like they were treated fairly, that comes back to our police officers, and our police officers are the ones who end up taking the brunt for it. So we want to make sure about that. There are some other procedures that other courts are doing throughout the states, and I think that some of our judges have looked at those and talked about those, but it was a conversation that we started and we really haven't gotten back on. And then finally, you know, little things, the phone needs to be answered. When the girls in our office who try to call down there and don't get somebody answering phones, you know, those are little things that need to be taken care of. But I think it's important that we do go through the full procedure of interviewing whoever the council puts down as the second judge, interview both, and pick the best person for the city of Huntsville. Sybil Cleveland may be the best person for the city of Huntsville, but we want to go through that process, and that's what we're going to go through. That will be my process. I think we will end up that process probably on November 17th if everything falls right, but that's also going to depend on what council does as they appoint the judge. So that's our process, and that's what I'm going to move forward with, and that's how I will move forward. I've talked to your boss, Coach Sherrod, who is Judge Sherrod. Talked to her and had conversations with her, and I hope if you have any other questions, you can talk to me afterwards about that. Finally, some other things. Downtown right now, we have the free community pumpkin patch pumpkins. They'll be decorated downtown from October 17th to October 31st, and that's sponsored by Arts Huntsville. We have the cemetery stroll on Sunday, and if you've never been to the cemetery stroll and want to see some of Huntsville's history, go to the cemetery stroll. You will see lots of Huntsville history represented there. Also, a street food gathering on October 21st, the last of the street food gatherings. And today we went out to WLRH. It's their 40th anniversary. They had on their wall a congratulations on their 10th anniversary, and that was when I was on city council, and it was a resolution signed by myself and Joe Davis and the other members who were on city council. So it was kind of neat to see the progression going from 10 years to 30 years later, and now we had the 40-year anniversary. And finally, I'd like for all of us to keep the family of Dr. Phil Redrick in your prayers, in your thoughts and prayers. Dr. Redrick was president of the Huntsville Housing Authority. He was a great person. He took me under his wing, and we talked a lot. We walked through some times when there were some tenuous meetings and tenuous times, and he died Saturday, and they had his funeral November 25th, yesterday. Yesterday they had his funeral. And Dr. Redrick was somebody who was a quiet leader in this community and somebody who I respect an awful lot, and I would hope that everybody would keep him in thoughts and prayers, and also reach out to the family during this time. A special man at a special time, and did a great job for us. So thank you. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor Battle. We're now at agenda item number 12, communications from the council members. Dr. Showers, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the city administration, Shane Davis and his group. Most of you know now, we had a town meeting, and we asked that safety would be a concern for our children walking from Stringfield up to the school. Today, that project is complete. I want to thank Shane Davis for the wrought iron fence that ensures that our children won't have an accident by somebody driving recklessly. Again, thank you to the administration for doing that. And of course, it looks good. Those of you who may have passed that way recently have been able to see that. I want to acknowledge the final services that was held today at the Cumberland Presbyterian Church, where the Mitchell Walker officiated the final service. I would be remiss if I would not say this. I don't want to tell my age, but Brother Redrick and I were in school at A&M together, and his brother and I was in the same class. Our prayers go out for the Redrick family. Johnson High School, you heard me announce earlier that they are having their 30th class reunion this weekend. They'll be at the Westin. They'll be going to the Shower Center for the picnic and back to the Westin for the banquet. The Diversity Leadership Colloquium will be having its graduation, will be held October the 25th at the J.F. Drake State Community and Technical College. The event will be in the cafetorium of the college. Time for that event is at 6 p.m. On that particular 25th date. That's all I have tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Showers. Mr. Russell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to congratulate the mayor and his administration for an excellent State of the City address yesterday. It was really a thoughtful presentation, and I enjoyed hearing it. Dr. Showers, you'll enjoy this. Last Thursday, because the council was off, I was able to go to the Jemison and Lee football game, and your team won. I guess they're both your teams, but it was a good game. Both schools were well represented, and both coaching staffs certainly did a great job, and I enjoyed the game. This week I was able, Mayor, to go to Goldsmith-Shiffman Field for a football game. I haven't been to Goldsmith-Shiffman in many, many years, and it's great to see that old ballpark back active with City Parks and Rec League. We were able to see the rivalry game between the Mayfair International Panthers and the Eastern Hampton Cove team. And had a great game, and both teams were also well represented there, and it's a great facility, and I hope we can keep it up and running. I am saddened by the loss of Dr. Redrick. Like you, Mayor Battle, some 20-something years ago, he took me under his wing when I was chairman of the Boys and Girls Club board for several years, and he really helped me both personally and professionally, and I have the highest respect for him, and I'm going to say my prayers for him and his family tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Dr. Robinson.
Spent this past weekend in Southern California visiting my daughter and grandson, and I was reminded again after the traffic and the congestion and the cost of living and the craziness that is Southern California, how fortunate we are in our community here to have just a great city. And then to go to the State of the City luncheon yesterday and see the mayor's presentation, I was reminded again how really fortunate we are. And I thank all of the department heads who contribute to what goes on in our city. I saw evidence of that again on Tuesday. We opened the Benaroya Connector. Many thanks to Kathy Martin and AlDOT and her team for building 260 feet of road in 39 days. It's a small road, but it's already having a big impact in South Huntsville with, as everybody knows, with the construction going on the South Parkway, access to hotels and restaurants and offices has been limited and very challenging. And that little road, which connects Martin Road to Boulevard South to the hotels and the restaurants and the offices there, is already getting a lot of use. And I've heard a lot of really positive comments about it. It was an initiative of the South Huntsville Business Association, and I again applaud the city for responding to their request to have that road cut through there. It is going to be a tremendous benefit to the community and to the businesses as construction continues on the South Parkway. And many thanks also to Jessica Carlton for her help in supporting that, the ribbon cutting and organizing all of it while I was out of town. I had the opportunity this week to meet with Ray Caldwell and Johnny Hollingsworth to learn more about the Gold Star program that the police department has been organizing. And I think Ray is here tonight. It is a great program that addresses the voluntary program that addresses issues in apartments. It's based on an effort to reduce crime, to increase the appearance of the properties, and for, I think most impressive to me, for the residents to take ownership for those properties through Community Watch and other programs. It's an education program, and it will be a great resource to citizens who are moving here and trying to find out where to go. And these apartments that go through the program and qualify for the Gold Star will get those ratings. So it's a great program, and it comes on the heel of a meeting I had actually last week with Councilman Kling and Lyle Voiles, who is president of the Huntsville Community Neighborhood Associations. And we talked about our concern for our aging neighborhoods, for rental properties in those neighborhoods, and what could be done to help motivate landlords to take better care of their properties. And the Gold Star program may very well be a first step in that direction. Now, I understand that the Gold Star program has gone through all the department heads, and they've gone through everything they need to do, and they're just awaiting permission from the national certification. And I think it's sitting in the legal department right now waiting approval. Mr. Riley, if you could follow up on that and see if we can get it out of legal and get it to the police department so that they can do what they need to do, it would be much appreciated, because I think it will have a great impact on increasing the value of our aging neighborhoods. Two quick announcements coming up. The South Huntsville Business Association will meet next week on Tuesday, October 18th at 3 o'clock at the Doubletree Hotel on Boulevard South. Anybody coming from Martin Road can take the Benaroya Connector to get there. And then I will have a town hall meeting on October 24th at 6:30 at the Bailey Cove Library, and our focus is going to be on roads, ditches, and garbage, everybody's favorite subjects. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Mr. Kling.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, since the last meeting, I've been to neighborhood meetings for Holiday Homes and also the citywide Community Watch National Night Out. Those are both two great organizations. Community Watch, the tens of thousands of volunteer hours that they contribute. Working with the police department, I think, has been a very good positive for neighborhoods throughout the city. Also, as was mentioned, we had the big picture meeting for the medical district. It was not a presentation type of meeting. It was a consumer-driven meeting in that the residents from the neighborhoods came, they had questions, they had concerns. Myself, and the hard questions I fended off to Dennis Mattson of the planning department were held. It was a good meeting, lasted a little over 2 hours, and I think a lot of things were discussed, and again, it covered a lot of areas. A lot of areas were brought up that needed to be addressed. Some good ideas came out. I like the idea of exploring sidewalks, a large sidewalk along Whitesburg Drive, what that might do to make that area a little bit more pedestrian friendly. I think, as was mentioned by a previous speaker, there was a good idea, and it's a concern that we've heard about people buying houses in neighborhoods, bulldozing them down, and then after the fact, they come to the city to petition for a hardship. And to me, that's sort of a self-inflicted wound that hopefully we can look at. Next Monday night, I'll be having my monthly town meeting. It'll be at 6 o'clock, second floor of the public library. Everyone's invited. Again, very free form, no set agenda, and we'll be glad to talk about the concerns, questions, problems that people see to bring up. Today, and I know it was kind of ironic, it was mentioned earlier, but today the Committee 100 had a lunch meeting with Mike Linden, who deals with tactical urbanism, which is a new term I've never heard before. It was a good lunch meeting, and they had an idea that I thought I really picked up on that I'd like to see if we could get traffic engineering to look into. Talking about the idea of crosswalks in some of these large cities. I think it was mentioned the suburban Seattle area was able to do it where we could take crosswalks and paint them in high school colors. Imagine the crosswalks in the neighborhood areas adjacent to Huntsville High School being red and blue, and similar have that done with other high schools throughout the city. I think that'd be something that'd be neighborhood friendly, and I think it would be something that would be something we could kind of run with. So I wanted to ask if, I don't believe anybody is here from traffic engineering, but I'm going to contact them tomorrow to ask if they could look into that and see what the hoops would be to do something like that.
Mr. Sanders is here.
Oh,
Mr. Kling?
I was looking for you earlier. I thought Dennis said you weren't here.
Councilman Kling, yes, I've been here.
Okay. Well, Dennis was at the meeting. Well, you're a low-key man. But anyway, Dennis was also at that meeting, and he can explain in better detail than I can. But the idea was done in some of the cities that this gentleman had done consultant work at, where crosswalks were done in different colors, nationality colors for ethnic neighborhoods. To me, it seemed like we could take something like that and do it with, look into doing it with high school colors for crosswalks that are located adjacent to high schools.
Well,
I know there'll be some DOT things you'll probably have to look into.
Probably a few, yes. Councilman, I'm not familiar with that practice, but I'd certainly be interested in finding out more about it.
Okay.
And Councilman Kling?
Yeah, we'll communicate, and also you may bump into Dennis in the hallway, and he could tell you more because he was at that lunch meeting today.
Certainly will.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kling, and I certainly ditto that. I discovered at the meeting that ALDOT backwards is LA Department of Transportation, so that's where this guy was from, and they are doing some very creative things in conjunction with their state laws and local laws. Mayor, I apologize for missing your meeting. I had a training in Birmingham that only comes to Alabama once a year, and but I did hear that your state of the city, as always, was a very informative and enlightening experience for our residents, not just in Huntsville, but North Alabama. So meet me in my office at 6 in the morning for an update, sir.
You might be sitting by yourself for a little while.
Thank you, sir. And Mayor, did you have any comments on that? I noticed you turned your mic on. No?
Oh, no.
Okay,
No, sorry.
thank you.
But we will have you a tape so you can see the state of the city.
Great.
Make sure you were called out at that point.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
And
kindly.
favorably.
Thank you, sir. We're now on agenda item number 13, unfinished business items for action. 13A is ordinance number 16-737, amending Chapter 9, Cemeteries of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Huntsville, Alabama. This was introduced September the 22nd, 2016 at a regular council meeting. Chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Dr. Robinson. Discussion. Anyone from cemetery?
Ms. McKee is not here tonight, and she asked me to answer any questions you might have. Basic explanation of this change is the city retains a right of first refusal on cemetery plots and property, and in the past that has been a 30-day, and that sometimes pushes things. So this will make a change that allows 60 days for the city to exercise that right of first refusal. There's also a change in the wording on the deeds that are used to transfer those, just basically the removal of a term or restriction, just to clarify and make sure that there were no misunderstandings by virtue of the fact that in the new section of the cemetery there are some restrictions on monument sizes and things of that nature. So she just didn't want any confusion in that regard. But those are the basic changes as I understand it.
So if someone were to purchase, say, 10 lots, then if they elect to sell them, then those 10 lots have to first be offered back to the city of Huntsville to purchase them first. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay.
And this change will allow 60 days for that process to be exercised.
Great, great, sir. Any further discussion, council? Ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. 13B is ordinance number 16738, declaring certain public transit vehicles surplus and authorizing disposal of the same by auction, introduced September the 22nd, 2016, at a regular council meeting. Chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Dr. Showers. Discussion.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir. Mr. Kling. Someone from public transit, Mr. Brown.
Okay. Tommy, I know we've had some discussions about some charitable organizations, veterans assistance programs. Are these going to be impacted by that?
Councilman Kling, we try to be real selective on the vehicles that we donate to outside agencies. These vehicles have mechanical issues that would render them not good candidates for that. But hopefully we'll have 3 new vehicles in service in the next couple of months, and we'll have some that will come out that'll be adequate to donate.
Okay, you definitely made the right decision on that. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Brown, state your name and department for the record.
My
please.
name's Tommy Brown. I'm the Director of Parking and Public Transportation.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion, council? Ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. 13C is ordinance number 16739, amending section 18-36, sidewalk cafes, vendors, and mobile food vendors of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Huntsville, Alabama, by amending hours of operation of mobile food vendors units, introduced September the 22nd, 2016, at a regular council meeting. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Showers, second by Dr. Robinson. Discussion? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Mr.
Council members, Jim McGuffey,
Yes,
City
Mr.
Planning Department. This is an amendment to the Central City Ordinance. Currently, the ordinance allows for food trucks Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. This amendment to the ordinance would allow them to locate on Wednesdays as well.
Thank you, Mr. McGuffey. Any further discussion?
Mr. President.
Yes, sir. Dr. Showers.
McGuffey, what is the procedure for other truckers and food trucks that want to get in line to come downtown and sell?
Yes, sir. Any food truck that would like to take advantage of this ordinance would have to meet with the clerk's office and myself to allow them to be on the list to go on these designated parking places.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Showers. Any further discussion, council? Ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. Thank you, Mr. McGuffey. Now, agenda item number 14, new business items for introduction. 14A is the introduction of an ordinance annexing 1.16 acres of land lying on the south side of Little Cove Road and west of Old Gate Lane, brought by planning. Chair moves for approval. I'm
Second.
sorry, this is just for introduction. Any discussion? We'll take this up at our next council meeting, as well as all of these. 14B is the introduction of an ordinance declaring certain equipment surplus and to be sold at auction. 14C is the introduction of an ordinance amending Section 2-63 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Huntsville regarding the election of city council officers brought by the chair.
May I ask a question?
Yes, Dr. Robinson.
Can you please give me an idea of what problem we're trying to solve with this amendment?
Well, that's a very good question, Dr. Robinson, and I'm so glad you asked. Of course, the term problem indicates there's a problem, and there's definitely not a problem. However,
Why are we amending an ordinance?
what this ordinance does in its pertinent parts is it amends the ordinance to limit the terms of the president of the city council to a 2-year term. It doesn't mean that that person is precluded from running again. They have to come off, and even after a year, he or she can also become president again. And what that does, in my opinion, it enhances our overall efficiency, and I can speak from experience myself. I have increased my game, for lack of a better word, since I've been president of the city council. I have taken it upon myself to broaden my knowledge even more in-depthly. So if we do that, it will not only increase our efficiency. I think when you sit in this chair, you're tasked to learn not only more about Robert's rules, but more about the intricate operations of city government and some of the other things. I want us to be visionaries. Let's fast forward 10, 15, 20 years from now when all of us are gone. So everything that the mayor of the city of Huntsville does has to be signed off by the city council president. Now, we've been blessed over the years to have a mayor, and I know that Mr. Russell has been president for a long time. We've had good relationships there. But what if we were to have a mayor and a council president who gets in cahoots and they decide to rip the city off? And they perceivably can do that. But if there were to be an opportunity for another person who sits on this council to come on board, then perhaps that there might be something that's caught. So we're talking about transparency. It furthers transparency. And another reason is, and Mayor Battle, you've had good relationships with the council, but we're fast forwarding again 10 or 15 years. Well, in this case, it could be 2 years. We don't know. Didn't mean no harm. But perceivably, the mayor will have to have a good relationship with all of the council members because he or she will not know who the president of the council is going to be. So there are several reasons, and there are no ulterior motives behind this. I'm currently sitting as president, but I've been thinking about this for a very, very long time. So with that being said, you know, those are just some of my reasons for wanting to amend this particular ordinance.
I guess the concern I have is that I like us having a free hand to nominate or renominate, or in some cases even renominate and re-nominate, you know, as we see fit. Just like I approached Councilman Culver and said, you know, I think you've been on the council for over 6 years. I think it's time, you know, I think you do a good job, and I'll be glad to support you. Just like a couple of months ago, I looked around and said, well, I like some of the ideas Dr. Robinson's had, newsletter, business association, involvement, going to meetings and stuff. So I went to her and said, you know, for better or for worse, I'll be glad to support you if you want it. Councilman Russell's done a great job. Sometimes I've supported him. Sometimes I think one time I nominated Councilwoman Moon instead. But I just like us having a free hand so that based on who the council as a body feels is the right person, or even if it's just a 3-2 split, I think it's good to have that flexibility. I mean, I think we've got good folks up here, and I'm looking at 4 people and who I've served with while they have been president, and they've all been great as far as conducting meetings and relating to the community and making sure that the public's questions get answered. But I guess I just like the idea of us not having a hard, firm formula or even a limitation on that. But anyway, just my 2 cents worth.
Which comes back to the question I asked originally, what problem are we trying to solve?
There's not a problem. What this amendment does, and this by all means is a progressive, equitable amendment to this current existing ordinance. It simply makes it conducive for whoever wants to be council president to have an opportunity. And let me just say this, to serve as president of this council is a privilege and an honor, and I wish all of my colleagues here on the council would get that opportunity. And it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody will, because whoever we like as president can come off for 1 term, go back for 2 years, come off for 1 term, go back for 2 more years. So it kind of encourages more equitable practices among ourselves. And I think we can plainly see that, there's no harm, no foul with this particular amendment to the ordinance. It's not uncommon for us to amend ordinances at all. And this is for introduction tonight, but we certainly will entertain whatever subsequent discussions we may have, and we can certainly continue with them at the next council meeting or with me privately or anywhere if you so choose and desire. Any further discussion? Okay. Thank you all so kindly. 14D is the introduction of an ordinance amending budget ordinance number 16-659 to modify the authorized strength of various departments brought by Human Resources. 14E is the introduction of an ordinance amending ordinance number 89-79, classification and salary plan ordinance brought by Human Resources. And council members, we will take up these items at our next regular scheduled council meeting, October the 27th, 2016. We're now at agenda item number 15. I have some requests here. The chair wishes to hold 15L, and keeping in mind 15I has been deleted, 15L, 15N, 15Q, 15R, and 15U. Are there any additional items that you would like?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hold 15D and 15E.
15D, 15E, 15L, 15N, 15Q, 15T, and 15U have all been held. Any additional items, council members?
I believe there was
sorry.
also a request on the part of Ms. Reed to hold 15I.
15I has been deleted. That is correct. So what we have thus far is 15D, 15E, 15L, 15N, 15Q, 15R, and 15U. Are there any additional items? 15A is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the low bidders meeting specification as outlined in the attached summary of bids for acceptance brought by finance. 15B is an ordinance amending budget ordinance number 16-659 by changing the appropriated funding in various departments and funds brought by finance. 15C is a resolution authorizing the acceptance of donations brought by finance. 15F is a request for authorization to advertise and fill one construction and facility maintenance worker position brought by Public Works. 15G is a request for authorization to advertise and fill one Secretary 2 position brought by Public Works. 15H is a request for authorization to advertise and fill one full-time systems technician position at a higher rate than minimum if necessary brought by ITS. 15J is a resolution authorizing the clerk treasurer to invoke National Bank Commerce Letter of Credit number 401-00000 for Oakwood Phase 1 at Lake Forest subdivision brought by the city attorney. 15K is a resolution authorizing the city attorney to settle the workers' compensation claim of Ricky McCarver brought by the city attorney. 15M is a resolution authorizing the city attorney to settle the workers' compensation claim of Stuart Wilson brought by the city attorney. 15O is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a water system warrants purchase contract with the underwriters with respect to the sale and delivery by the city of the Series 2016 water system warrants, and to execute an electric system warrant purchase contract with the underwriters with respect to the sale and delivery by the city of the Series 2016 electric system warrants for Huntsville Utilities, brought by the city attorney. 15P is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a special employee agreement between the city of Huntsville and Dennis Cole, brought by the clerk treasurer. 15S is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the city of Huntsville and Matrix Design Group, Inc. for the preparation of the Redstone Arsenal Joint Land Use Study, brought by planning. 15T is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a brand development vendor agreement between the city of Huntsville and Parkway Place Sierra Papa Echo LLC for the temporary display of the Big Picture banner stands at Parkway Place Mall, brought by planning. 15B is a request for authorization to advertise and fill the position of Animal Services Officer, grade 11, brought by Animal Services.
Mr. Chairman, I move for consolidation approval of 15A through C, 15F through H, 15J through K, 15M, 15O and P, 15S, 15T, and 15V as in Victor.
Second.
Motion has been made by Mr. Russell, second by Dr. Showers, for consolidation and approval of 15A through C, F through H, J through K, M, O through P, S through T, and V. Any discussion? Ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. 15D is ordinance amending budget ordinance number 16659 by changing the authorized strength in various departments, brought by finance. The chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Dr. Showers. Discussion. Ms. Sargent.
This is a request for the City Council Department to add one part-time secretary to position grade 10.
Who made the request?
President Culver.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
This is based on the conversation we had with regard to the budget of filling a part-time position.
Yes, ma'am.
So how is that going to be divided? We have a secretary who is already part-time. Will there be an equal number of hours?
Yes, ma'am. The hours are limited by Human Resources to, I want to say 28, 29 hours at max.
So will you split them in half? I mean, between the
And-
the part-time secretary we already have and this one?
Okay, so with those positions, it doesn't necessarily mean that we will work them both up to 28 to 29 hours. What it does allow for is for us to work them up to that point if we were to need that. So, and I'll be very candid with you, with the staff that we have in the council office, there is really a need for another full-time person, but we hammered this out at the last council meeting, reached an agreement, and so now we're back to a part-time person, which is consistent with Mr. Russell's suggestion of 7 people, and that's where we are.
Mr. President, should we may consider waiting and act on this until we have our elections in November?
On this particular item, and let me explain it this way. This simply gets the ball rolling. I think this particular position should be a position that our new council-elect for District 1 should be involved in, because it will impact him. So just putting this out there now will not preclude him from weighing in, because it will not be passed, if this council so chooses, until the next council meeting, which is 2 weeks away, which means by the time they advertise for the blue sheet for 14 days, and Human Resources finishes with the apps and then send them to the council, then we can make that decision, at that time.
Okay. Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
I'm in agreement with what we had hammered out, and I think we've certainly seen, due to some unfortunate circumstance, that we've had a substitute person in helping out for the last couple of weeks, so we need this. But these are for action, so we are going to take action tonight, which is it.
Oh.
Is that the understanding?
Oh, I'm sorry. That is correct.
I would be in support of taking action tonight if that's what you guys want to do. and then you go through the advertising process?
Yes.
That would be fine.
And the new council-elect will certainly be able to weigh in on this particular situation because that's a direct employee in the council office.
Okay, so we're gonna take action and vote tonight, which is okay with me, and then they can start the advertising for the position, is that correct? And then,
That is correct.
okay, I understand that. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. Thank you, Ms. Sargent. 15E is a request for authorization to advertise the position of part-time secretary to grade 10 and to fill at a higher than minimum rate if necessary. And this, I'm sorry, this is actually the one for the city council. So 15E, that same discussion that we've had is applicable to this position. So, any further discussion on that?
We don't have a motion.
Motion, I'm
So
sorry.
moved.
Motion by Mr. Kling, second by the chair. Discussion?
I do have a question. So you have a little phrase here, to fill at a higher than minimum rate if necessary. We don't know that that's, why would you assume it would be necessary?
Only if it were to be necessary. It could be another employee transferring from a different department. It could be another secretary too, part-time transferring from a different department. It could be someone from the outside whose skill set, rises to that level. So it's just leaving the door open. Any further discussion? Ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. Thank you, Ms. Sargent. 15L is a resolution authorizing the city attorney to settle the claim of Dongxing Wu, fiscal year 16-037, brought by the city attorney. Is there a motion? Motion by Dr. Showers, second by the chair. Discussion, Counselor.
This is the settlement of a workers' compensation, an automobile collision claim, and as a general practice, we don't discuss those negotiations in the council meetings, but there have been negotiations between the claimant and with the city attorney's office, and an agreement has been reached for a sum that person was willing to accept and we were willing to pay, and we are requesting approval from the council.
And Counselor, I believe the council will get a letter, a confidential communications. I don't remember seeing that or not seeing it. It wasn't sent, but I didn't know if we got that. I haven't seen it yet.
If you have not received it, then that is an oversight on our office, for which I apologize, and we'll be happy.
Mr. President, I did remember seeing it.
You did see it?
Yes.
Okay. If you saw it, Councilman Kling, that's good enough.
I did too.
And Dr. Robinson, that's good enough. Okay, and I do apologize with my oversight. Any further discussion, council? Ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. 14 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a real estate agreement between the city of Huntsville and East Madison County Land Company for the purpose of real estate, for the purchase of real property for Wayne Road and Old Monrovia Road intersection improvements, brought by the city attorney. The chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Dr. Showers. Discussion, Ms. Martin.
Yes, Councilman Culver. This is an agreement to purchase an acre tract located on the southwest corner of Wayne Road and Old Monrovia Road to help us straighten out that intersection. It is a joint project with the Madison County Commission, and they've donated half the value to purchase this property.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Martin. Any further discussion? That's in my district. That is correct. I remember that. Ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. And Ms. Martin, thank you so kindly. We certainly appreciate you getting the county involved in the purchase of some of that. Very good. Now, agenda item 15Q. 15Q is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the city of Huntsville and the low bidder, G. Gore Contracting, Inc., for Washington Street Park rebid, base bid, and option number 2 and option number 3, project number 71-16, Sierra Papa 50, brought by engineering. The chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Dr. Robinson. Discussion, Ms. Martin.
Yes, Councilman Culver. This is an agreement to award to the low bidder G-Corp Construction to construct a public park space in between the two public alleyways behind the Heritage Club, which is the public alley, and Mason Alley is the name of it, off Clinton Avenue. This work will consist of installing some bollards, signs, a bubbling rock, and some landscaping and irrigation. This was a project that was donated. The design was donated by the Huntsville Leadership Connect class, as well as they raised a partial piece of the funding in order for us to award this contract for construction. The total contract amount to be awarded is $90,150.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Martin. Further discussion, council? Ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. 15R is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the city of Huntsville and the low bidder, Bolton Construction, for Bob Wallace Force Main Relocation Direction Drilling, project number 71-16, Sarah Mike 02, brought by Water Pollution Control. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Dr.
Second.
Showers, second by Mr. Kling. Discussion, Mr. Cook.
Shane Cook,
Shane
Water Pollution
Cook.
Control.
Haven't talked with you in a while. Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Councilman, this is a directional bore project, and it is a part of a force main we're laying from Bob Wallace over to the Spring Branch plant. It will relay or relieve about 2.5 million gallons a day off of the western area plant and bring it down to Spring Branch where we need it. And the remainder of the contract, which is about 7 miles worth of force main, is being completed in-house through extraordinary efforts from our in-house crews. So this is probably, if we put it on the street, probably a $5 million project. And the only thing we're putting out on the street is about a $500,000 worth of bores to get up under the roads and creeks, that kind of thing.
Great. Thank you, sir. Any further discussion, council? Ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. Thank you, Mr. Cook. 15 years of resolution appointing full-time municipal court judge to the city council. The chair motions for the approval of Judge Scott Rogers, and we have these. Pass those down.
Mr. President, did you make a motion?
Motion for the appointment of Judge Scott Rogers.
Second.
Second by Dr. Showers. Discussion?
Mr. President, I was concerned that the information wasn't placed on the web. As before the meeting today, is there any reason we were keeping it secret?
No, sir.
Okay.
There
Then
was no.
I have a problem with that. I think we need to delay it because of we didn't provide the information to the public like we do on everything. And I'd like to hear what else the council
Okay,
thinks about that.
so this was at the suggestion of legal, and we followed their guidelines.
Who is we?
As in the city council, as in
Okay.
my,
All right.
when I discuss things with legal, I'm sure that is appropriate for the entire office because they represent not only the executive branch, but the legislative branch as well.
And what was the logic of keeping it from the public?
Well, because there were 3 candidates, although we have made a determination through a straw poll. We've all interviewed the candidates, and so tonight I am substituting with a pre-printed ordinance the name of Judge Scott Rogers.
Yeah, I just think that we need to, that we should provide the information to the public, but I guess if you have legal advice not to, I don't agree with that advice.
I guess I'd like to hear from Mr. Riley as well, since we did have a citizen who actually mentioned a concern regarding this. Mr. Riley, what is the thought process?
Mr. Riley?
My office was asked to prepare a resolution appointing a nominee for the vacant municipal judge slot. We were not provided with the identity, and we did not know the identity until just this moment. So it would have been impossible for us to insert that name. A member of my staff did suggest that we simply leave that blank. In fact, it was my understanding that this particular resolution was not even included. It was not hyperlinked for that reason. Because that particular aspect was not included and was to be added at a later time depending upon the will of the council. As the city attorney's office, we were not privy to what was going on among the council as far as how those ruminations were taking place, but we simply prepared the resolution as we were requested.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. And council, if I can just digress and go back to 1999, 1998, when the Honorable Judge Lynn Sherrard gave notice that she would be taking the judgeship at district court. And Councilman Kling, you were president at that time. We made that decision on that particular night. There was no name given to the public in advance, and there's a reason for that. We don't want to embarrass anyone. And the decision was made, and it was done. So we've improved, Mr. Russell, upon our process based on your recommendations and recommendations from other council members. And so we've done this openly. We've done it very transparently. And we're at a point where we're ready to move forward with this particular candidate who has been a judge with the municipal court for over 15 years, and to digress, and let me digress for a minute. My job as former chief magistrate with the courts was to acclimate new judges when they came to the bench. And I sat on the bench with a bunch of judges because municipal court at that time went through a very, very tumultuous time. And when I say acclimate judges, judges are lawyers who come off of the street, out of private practice, out of district attorney's office, out of city prosecutorial offices. But they may not necessarily understand all of the intricacies associated with the courts. So, although we've held public interviews, this particular gentleman here, Judge Scott Rogers, has been not only the night court judge for the last 15 years, but if we go back a couple of years, council members, we amended the ordinance to allow Judge Rogers to substitute for Judge Rodenhauser and Judge Cleveland when they were on vacation and out of the office or had conflicts. And he's been doing that job impeccably for a long time. And so I'm not understanding any need for a delay, since we all as a body agreed that he was the #1 candidate. And it's not to say that those other candidates were not good. Those other two lawyers are impeccable, and I'll be very candid with you. I wish we could hire all three of them, Mayor. Just knock out the walls in the municipal court building and get a couple of more courtrooms, because I know we can use them. But in the meantime, I think it's important that we move forward with the appointment of Judge Scott Rogers, who happens to be here tonight.
And Mr. Culver, Mr. President, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that, but I think the procedure we used was wrong. We should have put this on the agenda and hyperlinked it like we do everything else, and been open and transparent to the public like you said we want to be and we were trying to be. And that's really my only argument with this. It's not you're arguing who we picked. I'm just arguing the procedure we used to be open and transparent with the public, and I think we're making a mistake if we do it this way.
So, Mr. Russell, I'm going to take you back then to 1996.
And I wasn't here in 1996, and the open meeting laws have changed, transparency have changed. And if we did everything like in 1996, we'd probably all be in jail.
Well, I do understand that, but my emphasized point is that there is nothing that indicates that we have to do this any differently. This has been as transparent. We held public hearings, and we've identified, we've ranked the candidates. I I don't know what else that we need to do. I
We
mean,
could have put this on the agenda like every other ordinance and resolution we have.
It is on the agenda, but keep in mind that it's not uncommon, Mr. Russell. In fact, at the last council meeting, you brought something up that had not been on the agenda. So we passed that.
Sure.
So my point is, what's different about this?
You're hiring an employee, and whenever we hire an employee, we put their name on it.
Okay, Dr. Robinson, and let me say this, okay? Judges, first of all, are not employees. And that is very clear by state law and local law. There are no difference in judges than us. They're just appointed and we are elected. So that argument is moot, and I don't mean any harm. But we are prepared to move forward, and I think that's what we should do. I've done everything that I can to accommodate this body as president. We did it openly, we did it honestly, we did it impartially, we did it fairly. So I'm not understanding what we're missing. I'm sorry. Thank you, Dr. Showers.
I want to call for the question.
So that, if everybody's had an opportunity to weigh in, before we do that, Dr. Showers, everybody has to have an opportunity to weigh in. If I can get Councilman Kling an opportunity to weigh in,
Mr. President.
then I'll ask you to repeat that if you choose to do so, sir.
Okay, what I'd like to do is, I guess, get some legal authority. I guess, Mr. Riley, ask you, you've heard all this, we've got the fill-in-the-blank form here that we just got. Is this an order that the council could take action? Should the council, because the name was not mentioned, should it be carried over? And also, as a second part to that question, the council did do a tabulation, which was, through memo. Should that tabulation of the individual council member votes, should that somehow be attached as part of the record or somehow made public for public consumption? With regard to the first issue, I know of nothing that requires the name to be inserted or even necessarily to be hyperlinked. So I don't believe that would preclude continuing forward, that mere fact alone, that there was not a name inserted. As I indicated, it's my understanding that the resolution itself was not hyperlinked. So by virtue of making the motion today and including the name in there, I see no legal reason why the vote could not proceed for that reason. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to.
Just a point of order, and I don't mean to get involved in y'all's events, but I'm going to have to sign this afterwards. Does a straw poll meet the transparency and the rules of the ethics law that, as we have been through it, and because that straw poll was not taken in public action?
It is true, and I cannot answer that question definitively. I do have and have had some misgivings or reservations about that particular process as it went along. As you all know, the Open Meetings Act creates some interesting quandaries for us from time to time, and a concern that I had in trying to advise the council through this process was the lack of a definite or definitive process by which this thing to be done. There has been reference to earlier situations, and while I'm not completely familiar with the total history of the Open Meetings Act, I do know that there have been some material changes made in that act, certainly since the last time we've had an appointment of a judge. And so those Open Meeting Act requirements have changed, and there's a lot of lack of clarity. The desire throughout this process, as far as our recommendations, what was said was to try to avoid having a situation whereby there was any deliberation that was not done in public. And so whether that has occurred or not, I'm not able to make a final judgment upon.
And I can assure you, Counselor, to just address his question very quickly, There hasn't been any deliberation. We did public interviews. We made independent decisions as to who we thought would be the number one candidate. And this is, the process that we've gone through is not flawed at all. In fact, it goes above and beyond every process that we've utilized. And I'm going to digress. I was involved in this back in 1996 when we went through 5 presiding judges within a short period of time. I was involved in it, and I know what I'm talking about. So the process that we've utilized is not flawed. And this has been more transparent, Mr. Russell, Dr. Robinson, based on suggestions that we've taken from you guys.
Mr. President?
Mr. Kling.
Okay, first of all, when I raised that, I wasn't trying to skirt it. I think we should. And in fact, it was my understanding from this whole process that when we were to funnel these names to Mr. Culver and to Mr. Russell, was to kind of see, I think the idea was to see, is there a name that we could put in to an offer? Is there consensus for a name, for a person? And as piggybacking on that, I guess I kind of thought, well, I guess there should have been a name, and then we get something that's just passed out to us, you know, right before we're supposed to vote. But I think as part of the process, I would certainly expect that as part of our records, or we announce that we are supposed to give the name for the record, who each of us voted for. This was just to try to get part of the paperwork together, which is why I thought the name would have been in the form. But
And
definitely the council, I would strongly suggest, and I'm certainly willing to give my name and my 1, 2, 3 rankings from 3 very outstanding candidates. But I think that's certainly what we should do.
Okay, so I sent an email not soliciting, because we knew that we couldn't do that and violate our local open laws. But I sent an email that Mr. Russell and I compiled regarding the tabulations, and it was unequivocal who number 1 was. So with that being said, there's no requirement that a person named in a judgeship goes on an agenda to the public 2 weeks before council. You're not going to find that subsumed under any law, and I know that. So we are as transparent. We're given the name of the judge that we've decided. I mean, what if we didn't do this process? What if we had just done it the way we did it in '99? We would have just put a name out, and we would have voted it up or down. It's that simple to me.
If I may offer a bit of guidance, I think there's some confusion endemic in this process between the process and what occurs. And indeed, there is a straw poll, but I do think that in keeping with the Open Meetings Act, that the council members' votes should be accorded in public. And of course, the straw vote that may have been submitted is in no way binding until it is cast by a council member in the open meeting, which is, of course, when this is supposed to take place. And I guess theoretically, right up until the time that vote is cast, the council member might also be able to change their mind. So at that point, I think it would be a problematic if we utilized any straw vote that was taken outside of an open meeting and made that into a binding vote.
And you're absolutely correct, and that is not a binding vote. More of a gentleman and gentlewoman's results of a tabulation. So if we're not gonna utilize what y'all have recommended, why do it?
Okay, and Mr. Chairman, again, that is not my argument. My argument is if you had put the name of the judge on this piece of paper and hyperlinked it and put it on the agenda just like any other ordinance or resolution, I'd be perfectly fine with voting tonight. But we didn't do that, and that's the only thing that I'm discussing right now, not the selection process, not who was selected. It's just being open and transparent with the public. And that's all I'm saying, is that we should have done this Tuesday with everything else if we had it available.
And Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Again, under the advisement of legal, because the straw poll was not binding, it was only proper to submit a resolution that we could insert the names or the name, which satisfies the with it being public knowledge. So
But how is that transparent, a blank name?
that, well, it's transparent because we're doing it here. Okay, let me digress.
Keep digressing.
We could not have, no, I'm going back to the meeting.
Okay.
We could not have made a decision.
No
during the
decision has
interview
been made. We're
process.
going to make a decision here tonight.
And this is the purpose of it, and we're doing it openly in the public. This decision tonight is being open to the public, is being aired as we speak. So I'm not understanding why we cannot move forward with it.
Yep.
It's even if you were to regard it as an error, it's not an irreversible error. So what I'm saying is, there's nothing that prohibits us from moving forward with this tonight.
No, there's nothing prohibit us. I think it's just open and transparent that we do things right, and we didn't do it right in this situation.
Any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Yeah.
everybody, I don't know why, everybody just seems to be at each other's throats tonight, just to get some movement. Let me say for the record, I individually voted for Scott Rogers. And there were three very, very, very strong candidates. That was who I voted for.
And I,
Okay, everybody can say what they want to about who they voted for, which I think they should, because I think that needs to be out there. But everybody's at each other's throats on this. I think just to clear things up, I'm going to make a motion just to postpone this to the next regular meeting. That way, it's out there, which I agree should be out there. We had a few bumps in the road. I don't think 2 weeks are going to change it one way or another, but if there's a little bit more public transparency and trust, then I'm comfortable with that. So I would make a motion postpone to the next regular council meeting.
Second.
motion has been made to postpone. There's a second on top of that discussion. Dr. Showers?
You want me to indicate by posture or this?
No, sir, I'm gonna do a roll call vote, sir.
A roll call vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No.
Okay, we'll start with Mr. Russell. How do you vote, sir, on this?
On the postponement,
Yes, sir.
I vote aye.
Dr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mr. Kling?
Aye.
Dr. Showers?
No.
The chair votes no.
And Mr. President, okay, that motion's been put to bed. I think it is incumbent on every council member, either now or at the next meeting or whenever, to publicly declare who they voted for.
Okay, so this is what we'll do. The motion to postpone has been approved. We will postpone this to October the 27th. To legal, I will get with you, sir, and we'll pick this up at the next council meeting.
Let me, of course, state for the record and make sure that we don't have any misunderstanding. There has been no vote. There may have been a straw poll or some indication of what people were thinking, but the vote cannot occur except in public. And so I want to make that clear for the record. There has been no vote. Any vote that will occur to fill this vacancy must occur here in an open meeting.
And we will take this up at the next regular scheduled council meeting. This has been postponed to October the 27th, 2016. We're now at agenda item number 16, Legal Department items and transactions. 16A is a vacation of easement. 16A1 is ordinance vacating 10 utility and drainage easements for Lot 5, Chase Farm at Greenbrier, Phase 3. Chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Dr. Showers. Discussion. Ready for the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. 16A2 is an ordinance vacating 10 utility drainage easement for Lot 5, Chase Farm at Greenbrier, Phase 3. Chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Dr. Showers. Discussion. Ready for the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. 16A3 is an ordinance vacating utility and drainage easements for lots 9 and 10, West Park Loop. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Showers, second by Mr. Russell. Discussion. Ready for the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. Council members, there aren't any vacation of right-of-ways. We have one deed for acceptance. 16C1 is a public utility and private drainage. Colonnade Communities, LLC, acquired 8/24/2016. Chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Dr. Showers. Discussion. Ready for the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. It carries. Now, agenda item number 17, council members, there aren't any routine bond satisfactions or liquor bond mortgages. We're now at agenda item number 17, non-roster communication from the public. If you wish to address the council, please approach the microphone. You'll have approximately 3 minutes to address this body. State your name and address for the record, please.
Leslie Tripp, 516 Marshoots Avenue. I wanted to finish what I was speaking about with the gentrification issue.
Yes, ma'am.
We're also aware that developers do not request a variance and simply build anyway, but the city inspectors should be picking this up and calling the zoning department when this happens rather than give the house a pass. We're also having developers that break the rules often and are not fined. Upon calling the police, we've actually been told that they're too busy to have a developer move a dumpster or porta potty that is on the sidewalk or the roadway. Some of the developers are repeat offenders because they are aware that the police are not effectively watching this behavior. It seems as though the average citizens have no rights because the developers are not made to abide by the laws set by their own government. That's all I had to say on that issue, but I also wanted to speak on what I've heard earlier about Civil Cleveland. I wasn't even aware that was on that was going to be spoken about. 12 years ago when I graduated law school, I tried cases in front of Judge Cleveland. I found her demeanor, she was very graceful, professional. She's well thought of in the legal community. A lot of my legal colleagues speak highly of her. So I think you would be doing the city a great service if you would appoint her as presiding judge of the municipal court. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Ms. Reed?
Okay, I just want to tell the mayor that I know that his city speech today was great. It had to be. I hadn't heard it. I know you did a good job. You usually do. I do fuss on you a lot, and I have to. People are fussing on me not to, so I have to do that. I love y'all no matter what I do. I'm surprised tonight, though, that Shires, Kling, and Cover didn't take that vote. They usually do. They threw me out of my district, and you say you want to do the right thing, Mr. Kling. I just wanted to bring that up. You know, I'll never forget that. I forgive you, but I'm not never going to forget that, ever. But anyway, I want to go back to the big picture. You did vote tonight to spend some money and waste it putting up the big picture at the Parkway City Mall. I don't even know what it is. Until we get that solved, I don't think you ought to put that flyer up and waste that money. Anyway, I want to say something about the courthouse. Don't block that off till 4 o'clock on Friday. I know how you all like to stop blocking Go over there someday and try to get in the courthouse. This little old desk is sitting there. You got a question? And that is the silliest thing I've ever heard of. I don't know who come up with it. County Commission said you all did. Okay, and then I have to say that work good for the people, because no matter what changes up there, I'm not ever going away or leave you alone. I hope you do good on these judges and think out and do what you ought to do and Don't give them a character assassination before you put them in office. Don't take them on and treat them real bad. You can me. You can call me and do anything you want to me. I still love you, but Kling, do what's right. Because I'm going to move back in Bob Wallace, and I'm going to move in my district before the next election. Bye, Mayor. I love y'all, and thank you for letting me be hard on you.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Yes, sir. If you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Jabari Smith. I live at 685 Providence Main Street Northwest, apartment 101, Huntsville, Alabama, 35806.
Welcome.
Over the summer, I had the privilege and honor of sitting in the courtroom of Judge Sybil Cleveland and Judge Rotenhauser for a couple of months as an intern. I've seen the way they practice the law. I've seen their discretion and their judgment. And I'm aware of all the functions that they do in the court and the community, whether it's the mental health court that they take place in, whether it's the reduced recidivism that they practice and imply with their rulings. And I believe that it is within the best interest of the city and the county to appoint Judge Sybil Cleveland because of her hard work and dedication to the courtroom. It's my understanding that in the history of Huntsville, there has never been a vacancy this long in the presiding judgeship. And I am a little surprised that this council has delayed so long in her appointment or any appointments. On the front row, you will see a couple of students from Oakwood University. These are a few people who were brought to attention the vacancy in the courtroom, and we have garnered a lot of support from the community and our school and our church and support of Judge Sybil Cleveland. We respect and appreciate the way that she conducts her courtroom, and it's my understanding that Judge Rotenhauser also appreciated the way she ran her courtroom as well. And I believe that it will be within our best interests as a city to do the right thing by our constituents and community by appointing her. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Stephanie Strong, 150 Spinnaker Ridge Drive,
Welcome.
Huntsville, Alabama, 35824. And to the mayor, to add on to what I spoke of earlier, thank you so much, Mayor, for allowing me the opportunity to sit down with you on May 2nd to talk about Turn the Page, my reentry program, and you were very accommodating and hospitable. We thank you for that. I talked to you about ideas to stop recidivism here and ways to improve public safety and even increase revenue here. And every one of those points that I made, you made reference to Judge Cleveland would know about that. Judge, you said that 3 times, Judge Cleveland would know about that. And you were very, very kind, and I thank you for that. And you also told me that if there was anything that you could do to help our program to become successful, you do the best that you could. And so in this instance, I think that the best thing that would help our program is that you would appoint Judge Sybil Cleveland as presiding judge for the municipal court in Huntsville. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir. If you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is David Battle, address 3203 Clifford Road, Huntsville, Alabama.
Welcome, sir.
And I appreciate being here. This is my first time speaking. Some of y'all might be familiar with my father, David Lee Battle Sr., who had occasion to be here lots of times. And I've come just to speak to something that's really important to me, and that would be just the treatment of people in the courts. And the one judge that I know and have worked with, Judge Sybil Cleveland, it has got an impeccable record. I will say, because of her body of work, because of her experience, she's the one. I'll also say, because of her insight and knowledge about mental health and substance abuse, it can't be beat. I'm a professional counselor, and those are the people that I work with. And she gets a chance to affect change, but on the spot, a judge has a couple of moments with each client to detect what can be wrong or how they might be able to help them. And she's got a list of referral sources, and she gets the people the help that they need so the individual can change. And when the individual changes, the family changes for the better. And when the families change, the community is better. And I'd say to you, appoint Judge Sybil Cleveland. She's making a difference, definitely. I've got 15 guys that I've worked with, and I still work with daily, that are doing great things, that are moving on. Their lives are changing, and they're moving into different roles. It's not in and out of the county jail. It's on to jobs, it's on to school, it's getting GEDs, and that's an understanding that's needed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. State your name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Neftali Dan Duranville, and I live in 5140 Millennium Drive, Huntsville, Alabama, and I am a registered voter for District 5.
Wow, welcome.
The Dialogue, also known as Advocacy for Justice and Equality. We are a team of students who started because of our time at the municipal court in Huntsville, Alabama. We seek to bridge the gap between our university, community, and our local government. Today, we garnered support for our local judge, Judge Cleveland. We garnered over 75 signatures for her installation. Many ask, what has she done for me? And I was proud to say that Judge Cleveland has reduced the cycle of recidivism, which has greatly impacted our community. She has broken the cycle of people breaking the law, coming in front of the judge, being sentenced for a few days, and being sent home, and that process starting all over again. In opposition to the ideals of mass incarceration, she places individuals in programs that can identify the issues at hand and solve them. Judge Cleveland has not only broken the cycle of recidivism, but she addresses the issues of crime. After she has heard the individual's issues, she finds ways to help them get off their self-destructing paths. And she puts them into programs for them to get their GEDs if need be. She doesn't stop there. She also partners up with Drake and Calhoun Community College in a program called Ready to Work that allows each individual who was once deemed lost forever in the system to attain their skills. Did I mention she also addresses domestic violence issues every Thursdays in the courtroom alongside her domestic violence advocates? There are a myriad of reasons why Judge Cleveland deserves this position. She is the people's judge. How often do you see many students come in front of you at one of these council meetings? We have mobilized because we believe that she is the judge for us. We respect and look up to her. The discretion that she exercises while on the bench is impeccable, and it goes unnoticed. Her place on the bench is long overdue, and I believe that now we need to honor it. She has an open door policy, but yet she is stern in the courtroom. The customer service at our municipal court is like none other. If you believe that she is the best person for the job, I ask that you honor it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. State your name and address for the record, please.
T.C. Johnson, 1800 Sparkman Drive. I've faced Judge Cleveland in my life for allegedly running a stop sign. And let me just say to you, the things I know from people who've come back who should have, under ordinary circumstances, would have gone to jail, but just because they didn't have money to pay right then, Judge Cleveland found a way so that mom wouldn't have to be separated from her mother. Still had to pay the bill. In my case, I argued with the officer at court. Judge sat in the middle and ruled on his behalf. And that's what she was supposed to do. Now, I didn't like giving up nearly $200, but she said to me, if you don't have the money, there's some things we can work out. This idea of mass incarceration affects the African American community more than any community. To have someone who can do the right thing and understand and then be able to help, that's what we need. She's been working in the court of this city, making the city better, keeping the jails less full, and citizens paying $50 a day at them being in that particular jail. I know you have to do what you have to do. But in my heart of hearts, even after being given a ticket, Judge Cleveland is the best choice.
Thank you, sir. Sir, if you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Al Garrett, and my address is 145 Kaiser Boulevard in Madison. My zip is 35758.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. I left the home before coming to City Council. I left the home of a mom, a divorced mom, whose husband had come to her home and began fighting with her and her children. A citizen in the neighborhood called the police and said there was a disturbance at the home. Long after the husband was gone, the ex-husband was gone, the police arrived, and rather than asking this mother if she needed help, assistance, they walked past her son, demanding to know who was in the house, and escalated what should have been a moment of simply trying to identify how they could help and if she, in fact, wanted to file charges. Now, not only was this woman, in my opinion, not only was she mistreated by her ex-husband, but by the manner in which the police approached her home and her children. It led to her daughter being taken into custody. It led to her being taken into custody as well. And we have reached out to this city since July, trying to get the charges dropped against this young lady because she was arrested, this mother was arrested and charged with disturbing the peace. The reason this mother was in distress was because she watched her daughter thrown to the ground and a police officer on top of her. And she simply saw someone near her who had a phone and said, "Let me call the president of this public housing association." An officer took the phone from her and didn't allow her to finish that call. Again, we have attempted in numerous ways to simply say, after a internal affairs investigation looked at the footage, internal affairs admitted that these officers failed to follow policy.
Sir, your time is up. Do you need another minute?
May I please have
Counsel.
another moment?
Mr. Chairman, just before going, we need advice from counsel. Is this an active and open case, and we need to be advised on what we can hear and see?
It doesn't sound like it's within our jurisdiction. Is that within the city of Huntsville?
It was within the city of Huntsville.
Okay, so is that case still pending?
Yes, she is still she is still facing those charges.
As long as you don't call any names, we'll be okay.
I have no intention of calling a name.
Okay, thank you, sir.
But those charges are still pending. Even after the internal affairs spoke with her and an advocate and admitted that they failed to follow policy, she should not have been arrested. Her daughter, when she was taken to the detention center would not accept her because they said she should have never been brought here. And they gave her a phone and said, "Can you call someone to pick you up?" Those officers left children alone in that home after arresting this mother. Again, I have reached out to your council president. I've reached out to your multicultural affairs office, and we've reached out to your citizens advisory board simply asking, why won't you drop these charges?
Thank you, sir. And we certainly appreciate that information. And the only reason I allowed you to continue is because we have one entire day a week that we handle DV-related cases and cases of that nature. So there's no way that anyone can connect the dots on that. However, it is a pending case, which means that it is improper for me as president of the council. It's improper for Mayor Tommy Battle it's improper for any of the council members to intervene or anyone in city government to intervene except the courts. So we have 3 separate branches of government. We're the legislative branch. The mayor and his cabinet are the executive branch, and the courts are the judicial branch. So it would be improper, inappropriate for any of us here on this dais to pick up the phone and call municipal court and say, will you drop the charges? As lugubrious and morose as that seems, it is not our place. And one thing I'm going to do as long as I'm here on this dais is to make sure that we respect the 3 branches of government. I'm saying we, as 3 branches, respect each other's authority and responsibilities that are grounded in the Constitution of the state of Alabama and the Constitution of this great United States. Thank you, sir. Anyone else who wishes to address the council? I'm sorry, Mr. Kling, there's one gentleman there left. If
President, can we ask that everyone who wants to speak,
Okay.
they're welcome to, of course, but if everybody could just line up, that way we know when we can turn it off.
Yes, and this is the last gentleman. Okay, so if you'll hold that thought for just a minute, sir, while we deal with a technical issue just real quick. I'm sorry about that. Okay, sir, if you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Joseph St. Clair Stewart. My address is 685 Providence Main Street, Northwest, Huntsville, Alabama, 35806.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I came to Huntsville, Alabama 3 years ago, 2013. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, and I came here with my childhood friend, and basically he got mixed in with the wrong crowd from another school, and he got involved in a marijuana case and everything. It's closed now. I'm not saying any names, but I'd go with him to like all of his court case and everything. So I got to see a lot of how Judge Cleveland handled herself with the mental courts and with his court case. And I had to say that it was much fairness and sternness. Like I've never seen so much care taken to mental health patients, and like she really listens to their stories. And at the same time, she's very stern, and there was so much respect from like just the people in the city. That's the one thing that got me, that really just stood out. It was just the line of respect both ways that you don't really see a lot, like the personal connection with the city, which I think is very important for people in Huntsville, Alabama, to feel connected to the judge, like as they're a part of a citizen too, not just an employee, as you guys were saying earlier. I feel like that's very important. So. That's all.
Thank you, sir. And our last speaker for tonight. State your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Cecily Werfno. My address is 2610
Would you
Rita
repeat your name again slowly?
Cecily. Yes, I can. I'm so sorry. Cecily Werfno.
Thank you, ma'am.
My address is 2610 Rita Lane Northwest.
Thank
and
you.
I'm a
Welcome.
senior political science major at Oakwood University. Being a parliamentarian of my student government and now senior class office, it's truly been an honor to watch the city council conduct this meeting tonight. So thank you for that. As well as being here and standing in solidarity with I am as well standing here in solidarity with my fellow Oakwood students in the fervency to see the presiding judge vacancy filled by our great Mayor Tommy Battle as soon as possible. And personally having interactions with Judge Sybil Cleveland in her no-nonsense courtroom where I was pulled out for being caught with my cell phone the first time I was there. I've had the opportunity to fear and revere her working in the courtroom. This semester I've been interning with the lawyer John Brinkley, and he's honestly given me such an insight into the legal system as well as the judges that work around them. And the funniest thing is I'm most terrified of Judge Cleveland's courtroom simply because I feel like there's such an air of importance in it, even though, she mostly deals with traffic tickets and, she deals with the common folk. I go, to Judge Hunley's courtroom also, and, he deals with drug and higher city and district and circuit things. But when I go to Judge Cleveland's courtroom, I know that she's dealing with the municipal issues, the issues that really affect us in the community at the lower level. And I feel like filling this presiding judge position is important to be seen and to be taken care of, because if it's not, then the smaller man, the municipal court, the people that go in there, because of passing a red light or a small traffic infraction, this process needs to be expediently done. And I believe that when Mayor Battle was speaking about the issues within the court today, and how there needs to be more expediency, he's working to make it the best municipal court in the state. And obviously we have all these great dreams, but I feel like those dreams are only completed when we fill the current vacant position. And that is why I am requesting, along with my fellow Oakwood students, that this position is looked at and that Judge Cleveland is strongly considered, because she is strongly revered in her community. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion? We adjourn.